I'm vibing.
Okay, I think we're back. Is the camera on? It is, yay! Sorry, everybody. The power dropped. And so everything turned off, everything reset, the internet rebooted, like everything. I don't know what happened. I have everything on a power backup. So I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know what happened. It's not like we were playing any games or doing any extra stuff. It's just power dropped up. I don't know. Yeah, Jeff got me. Jeff was like, he said, what about the show? It's too bad. We had like 900 people in here and then like 100 on Twitch. So like we were well over 1,000. I don't know what happened, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Let's see. Only real ones stayed? Yeah, for real. Anyway, all of this to say, after the power drop, yeah, I am glad people have kind of agreed that the Game Awards was not what they were hoping it would be, and it's just some weird chance for Jeff to go and flirt with celebrities. And hopefully next year is better, but let's be honest, I don't think it will be. Okay, end of segment. It's okay, Jeff. You don't have to send out a hit on me again. It's okay. Everything's okay. Okay. Oh, Jeff. What a silly little guy. What a silly, silly little guy. I've seen the video by Kingard regarding reviewers and sponsorships. What's your thought? I have not seen that. I don't know what he said. I mean, the standard thing, if somebody's making a video about reviews and like sponsorships and stuff, usually it's that they're saying that people are being paid for reviews or paid for sponsorships. And I've talked about this very openly because I've done a lot of sponsorships and I've done a lot of reviews. So I've seen both sides of it. First thing, it is illegal for them to pay you to do a positive review without you disclosing that you're being paid specifically for a positive review. You can't do that in the States. Maybe in like, I don't know, North Korea, you can do that, but in the States, you can't do that. So that's for one. As for whether I've ever been offered for a positive review, I've never even been offered that. The closest thing would be like mobile games will reach out and be like, hey, can we pay you $100 to make a video where you just talk about how great the art design is and how great the gameplay is? That's the only thing I've ever heard of, and I wouldn't call that a review. And of course, I've never taken it, and it would be so clear what that is. And it's only $100. Like, they pay nothing for it. Like, it's just hilarious. So I've never heard of any such thing as a paid review or anything like that. The one aspect of it I think that there is something to be talked about is in terms of access, where like, say you go and you have a really good relationship with PlayStation and then they send you some review codes and you have really negative things to say, and all of a sudden they stop talking to you, they stop sending you review codes, they stop interacting with you. Did they stop doing that because they didn't like that you're being negative? Maybe. Might have been something else, but sure, it could have been. But that's also their right. If they don't want to send you review codes, that's their right. They don't have to send you review codes for anything. Like, who cares? It's their right to do that. As for like individual creators that might be worried about that, what I would say is, just as a point of experience, very, very few publishers are that petty. Very few. I called Ubisoft's last huge game Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I called that a travesty of open world design, and they still send me review codes. They still invite me to events. They still sent me the collector's edition for some reason. Like, they still are very positive and very nice, even though I've had not very nice things to say. And so, like, for a lot of companies, they're like, oh, well, we'll get you next time. Because they know if I come out and I end up really liking something they do after being really harsh on them or after not liking their previous stuff, they know that that's going to mean way more, right? It's going to mean all the more to them. Some studios and publishers definitely are petty. After 2018, when I said that Fallout 76 was evil and extremely scummy and Bethesda should be ashamed of themselves, yeah, Xbox, anybody under ZeniMax's roof, nobody within ZeniMax responded to any emails or anything from me for about 5 years until Starfield. So is that because of the negative videos I made about Bethesda at the time? Maybe. If it was, their loss. But, you know, it just is what it is. My experience, though, is that there's really not an issue. Like, I've never had a big publisher or anything come out and say, hey, can we pay you for a positive review? I've not say it's impossible, but it would be illegal for them to ask you to say something without disclosing that you've been paid to say that something. So, yeah, I don't buy that there's really an issue there. And a lot of the time, the people that throw the biggest fits about it are the ones that are usually butthurt that they haven't gotten review codes for games that they want. Like DSP rambles all the time about how corrupt reviewers are, and the dude hasn't gotten a review code, I don't think, ever, because he's so toxic. And guess what? They don't want to send him a review code because he's so toxic. So like, it's really not that complicated. So a lot of time the people that throw the biggest fits are the ones that are just upset and pissed off. So, yeah. And yeah, everybody bringing up the fantastic thing. Yeah, we talked about that right at the top of the stream. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if there's any money for them to take and run with, because refunds are expensive on Steam. So I think they probably actually did start losing a ton of money, and they're trying to shut down before they have to pay out more. That's my guess. Are you going to try Ready or Not 1.0? Maybe. I've never been super into it. I know some people have been, but I've never really put a lot of time into it, so I'm not very familiar with it. Sophie, good to see you. Do you get Sony codes? Yeah, sometimes and sometimes not. Like, it just depends. Like, I didn't get one for Spider-Man because we were talking with them, and I was traveling at the time, and things just didn't line up properly. So we just ended up being like, okay, well, actually, don't stress it. We're good. But as for other things, like Sony sent me hardware. They sent me that DualSense Edge. They sent me God of War, Ragnarok. They'll send me stuff. Yeah. So not too stressed about it. What did I miss? Oh, Sean, the power went out for some reason. Like, I don't know why, but all the power, everything shut off completely. I thought I had everything hooked up to power backups, but I think it's just the gaming PCs hooked up to power backups, not the streaming PC. So I think I'll have to go get another power backup for that, because it only dropped, it dropped for a split second. It was one of those blackouts that's like maybe half a second long, but it's just long enough for all the electronics to shut off. So I don't know. Is Blade exclusive? I don't think anybody knows. What was the first review code you got? What was it? Maybe. I mean, I had gotten like a bunch of little indie games before. I think the first big-ish game I got a review code for, it might have been like Plague Tale Innocence, maybe. trying to think if there's anything before that. Like I remember back, the first like review critique thing I did was on Mass Effect Andromeda when that came out. And that released in 2017, but that one I did like, my channel was tiny in early 2017, and I did like a little review of it, but the game code was provided by Kinguin, because it was like my first sponsorship really, and it was with a key site called Kinguin, and they were like, yeah, just talk about Kinguin, just say these things, and then we'll give you a code for the game. Like that'll be your payment, is the game. So they provided the copy of the game, and that was the payment for it. And it was like my first sponsorship kind of thing, and then I got a free game out of it, which at the time was crazy. The idea I could get a free video game was wild. Is there much further we can push games in terms of graphics? I think so, Kevin. It's just with all graphics and stuff, you're dealing with diminishing marginal returns. And so, you know, if this is the graph of graphical improvement, like this was the PlayStation, the original, or maybe the NES, whatever you want to say. And then this is like the PlayStation 2. Huge leap up in graphics, right? Massive. We'll just do oh my God, PS2. And then we get like the 360 generation here, which is also a huge leap. I mean, just massive leap, right? Games looked so much better on the 360 versus the Xbox original, or the PS3 versus PS2. So huge, huge leap. And then like this was the jump to the PS4, and it's good. It's good. It's not as big of a leap, you know, it's like that much versus a ton, but it was still a leap. And then the PS5 comes out, and it's really not that much, you know, it's a little bitty improvement. And then, you know, we're gonna get the PS6, and it's like here. But this is why so many of these companies start leaning into gimmicks. Like ray tracing is a gimmick in a lot of cases for console games, because it's rendering at like quarter resolution for the reflections, and just isn't quite there. Or they'll push like 60 FPS as the gimmick. So that's the big thing they're pushing, where they're just trying to get higher frame rates, because that's tangible and people can feel that. So there are improvements to be made. I don't think graphics are where most of the improvements are going to be made from the PS5 to the PS6 and onward. I think most of the improvements are going to come by way of cloud integration, and that's going to piss off a lot of people. I'm just telling you what I think the deal is. I think a lot of the time and money is going to be spent using servers to like allow for like NPCs that you can just talk to, like that ChatGPT integrated mod for Skyrim, where you can just talk to NPCs and they'll just have a conversation with you without selecting dialogue, without anything. I think a lot of games are going to start doing that. I think they're going to do cloud computing stuff to simulate like, you know, millions of NPCs on a map in like Red Dead 3 or whatever. Maybe not millions, but like thousands and thousands. So I think that's what they're going to push. I don't think graphics are going to be the main selling point for next gen consoles. Personally. Who's been the worst publisher to deal with? I mean, I don't think I've ever done anything with Take-Two, but it's mainly because they don't really have much to talk about until Rockstar comes out with something. So like, I'm not trying to get review codes for 2K 21 or 23 or whatever. So I don't know about them. Maybe they're great, maybe they're not. I don't know. Ubisoft's always really nice to work with. Focus Entertainment's always delightful. They are super, super nice and very responsive. So they're good. Xbox has been really inconsistent. Sometimes they're very responsive and very much on top of it and very communicative. For Starfield, they were great. For Starfield, they were amazing. They were definitely on their A game for that. But other times when I've tried to reach out, and granted, I had called their company, one of their subsidiary companies, evil. So I understand they might not have had me as like a high priority, but in years past, Xbox, specifically ZeniMax, was very difficult to deal with, but I don't know. There's not many big guys that are really tough. Capcom, I just don't get responses from, but they also have a weird thing where they have like a creator portal that you're expected to use, but then they also directly reach out to some developers or some creators. So it's really just hit or miss. Square, it depends. They'll sometimes use outside companies to work on stuff, which are usually pretty good and they're very responsive. Other times they'll do it in-house, and it's just really hit or miss with Square. So it's all over the place. Judson, also thank you for the $4.99. What do you think about the Bungie situation? They might get taken over by Sony. You think it's going, or do you think it's going to be a bad thing or good since new Bungie been greedy? I think one of the reasons they've been greedy is because they've been trying to meet those financial goals. Basically what happened, I guess, new segment, Jacob. What seems to have happened with Bungie is that they had this offer come in from Sony where they bought them out, but they still had broadly independence. Okay. So this article from Forbes kind of describes it. Of course, Bungie's had a ton of struggles recently, but all of this culminated in a report from IGN's Rebecca Valentine, which revealed, among other key issues like soul-crushing morale problems, there's actually something even more intense potentially on the horizon. While Sony purchased Bungie for $3.6 billion in 2022, the company has remained independent as a subsidiary since then. However, if Bungie fails to meet certain financial targets, Sony has the power to step in, dissolve the current board, and assume control of the company itself, which would result in, well, what would that result in? Getting past the idea that it's wild Bungie could have even ended up in this situation, I wanted to talk through some scenarios about what it could mean if this trigger was indeed pulled and Sony fully took over Bungie. Interesting. Best case scenario, better leadership, stronger games. Yeah, Sony knows how to put games together. Maybe it ends up being really, really good. Maybe it ends up being a good thing. Who knows? Maybe, right? It's all maybes, but maybe. Medium case scenario, scale reduction. While poor leadership decisions are indeed a huge part of what's gone wrong here, there's also a somewhat inescapable fact that a game like Destiny 2 is simply enormously expensive to make. Delivering this much seasonal content on a regular basis at this scale, in addition to huge expansions every year, is incredibly difficult and costly, and the game does not have a great revenue mechanism to support that. Destiny has now been over-monetized to the point where it's turned players off, but not monetized to the degree that it can be supported like Genshin Impact is with its gacha gambling model, or something like WoW subscriptions, which players would never go for. Yeah, WoW is one of those exceptions where it's like, why do they get away with that? A subscription model for this? This is crazy. It's like, well, it's WoW. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, makes sense. There are some games and some studios in the industry where it's just different. Like, oh, it's a double standard. Yep. Yes. It just is. For years, it was like that with like BGS, where they release broken, buggy games. And everybody's like, yeah, well, but it's Bethesda. It's like that shouldn't be how it is, though. And thankfully now people are kind of waking up to it and are being like, okay guys, it's 2023, there's so much competition, you can't keep doing this. You can't release buggy, outdated, technologically unimpressive games anymore. Come on. And so thankfully they're waking up to it. But yeah, for some studios and developers, there are just straight up double standards. So I mean, there clearly is a problem when you see a studio getting to the point where they're over monetizing their games. There's one of two things happening. Either they're being compelled to over monetize because they need to cover costs and meet certain targets, or it's greedy and they're trying too much. Like the whole thing with greed, and this is one thing that drives me crazy, it's a little pet peeve of mine, but a lot of people don't even understand seemingly what greed is. Like, if you need this much money, okay, let's do like an extra thick one. Ooh, baby. If you need this much money to cover your bills, okay, this is your expense line. Let's just say this is your break even point, okay, your BEP. You need to get this much money to break even with the cost of development, with the cost of the property, the real estate that you're housed within, with the cost of the computers, of healthcare, all of that, marketing, server upkeep. This is the amount of money you need to make to break even. Most studios don't want to just break even, because if you have a good day or a bad day, you are either losing money or you're making money. You don't want to be there. Usually you target for, of course, as much profit as you can, while maintaining other goals. So for like, I don't know what you could say. It's like a really healthy, what's like a really healthy live service game that's fairly priced, that's not over monetized, where it like affects gameplay. It's too bad that this is hard to think of. Fortnite, I guess you could say, because it's all cosmetic. So yeah, sure, let's use Fortnite. So like Fortnite just prints money. Okay, so it's gonna be a weird example, but Fortnite, if we say makes this much money, it's very profitable. There's very little question. They're doing just fine. They can cover their expenses. They can do crazy amounts of expansions and added content. They are very, very good, and they are well past the break-even point. Just pure, unadulterated profit. Ooh, baby, it's so delicious. So they're doing just fine. What greed would be is if you were to go from here and then Fortnite comes in and decides to add in like straight up just a casino where all of these 12-year-olds can bet their V-Bucks, roll it on a roulette wheel, and then try to make more V-Bucks that they could then either use for monetization or use for like cosmetics or whatever else. This yellow portion would be greed. Okay, that would be just really, really greedy. They're letting the hope and the desire for more infect everything else, because all of this is now jeopardized because they were so greedy. Okay, this is what happens when you over monetize your game. You take something that was like, oh, you had a good thing, yeah, it's monetized, but I think it's fair, and then you did this, and now the whole experience is tainted. And with like Bungie, the tough thing for them is that they, if we go purple for Bungie, like for Destiny 2, they probably are like here. So before we're even at the point where we break even, they're not quite there enough with like a fair monetization scheme that players would be happy with. So they have to go in with these questionable monetization schemes to try and just break even, which apparently they're not even doing because they missed their revenue targets by like 50%, okay, in this last year. So they're not even breaking even, and they're having to resort to these really greedy tactics just to break even. And again, like I said earlier, this infects the rest of this and affects it to the point where now this is in jeopardy. And so I don't think that this is them just being greedy. This is just them desperately trying to maintain the financial levels they need to. For Fortnite, it would be greedy because they're making plenty of money. They don't need to push it that hard and jeopardize all of this revenue from happy players just to get a little bit extra. That would be greedy. This is greed. This is just desperation. So I want to be very, very clear. I don't think Destiny has really been greedy. I think they're just freaking desperate because they aren't able to pay the bills with how much money they're taking in. Was that an unnecessary MS Paint example? Probably. Did I spend too much time on it? Yeah, probably. But we're going to continue, okay? We're going to continue. Oh, my microphone shifted. Okay. So because of this, in this medium example that they bring up, in this scenario, I would foresee reductions in both terms of what Destiny becomes and literal reductions at Bungie. Unfortunately, further layoffs. The idea may be that Destiny simply cannot continue at this place without a huge surge in revenue or players. That just does not seem like it's coming. Even if the final shape itself sells well, we're supposed to be entering an entirely new era of Destiny after that, but at the same pace, at this same scale, that may be what it's hard to convince Sony of, and they may reduce the scope of the game and as such reduce and reorg the teams working on it. I mean, I absolutely agree. This could mean smaller, less frequent content drops or literal maintenance mode, with perhaps a plan to bring the IP back in a bigger way later on. And in the interim, Bungie continues pressing on to realize Sony's other live service ambitions with new games like Marathon, which both Sony and Bungie are banking on to be a hit, and plans remain uninterrupted for that. Yeah, I mean, they're banking a lot on Marathon. The biggest thing with Destiny, at least in my anecdotal experience, and I would love to hear what you guys think in the chats, because I want to hear if it's just me. But in my experience, one of the problems for Destiny has just been that a lot of people are too intimidated by it to try it. Like, that's where I'm at. I am down to try Destiny, but there's such a huge learning curve, and then there's also a huge gap between where like active Destiny players are and new players would be, that it's very intimidating to get into. So I don't even know where to start with it. And so it's not really accessible to new players, whereas other games and live service games like a Fortnite are extremely accessible, partially because like the expansions and monetization are available to everybody. The cosmetics are available to everybody, and you don't need cosmetics. I've told this story before, but my little brother, he is all into Fortnite. I mean, at this point, he's 13 years old. He's full in. And years ago, like maybe 2 years ago, I was like, hey, you want to play Fortnite? I'll bring my gaming laptop up because I was going to visit them in Wyoming. So I'll bring it up and we can play Fortnite. You know what he said to me? He said, well, what skins do you have? It's like, what? It's like, yeah, if you only have noob skins, all my friends are going to make fun of you when we play. I was like, oh my God. Wow. Okay. Really? Yeah. They'll make fun of you if you're using noob skins. It's like, noob skins. Okay. Hadn't heard that term before, but yeah, noob skins. If you don't have like a cool Spider-Man skin, apparently 10-year-olds will make fun of you. So I was like, that's my wake up call. It's pretty funny. When I heard that, I was like, okay, you know what? I will get a not noob skin to play with you. I can do that. My main skin in Fortnite when I play, if you ever are wondering, if you see like my username and you're like, whoa, was that Luke? Was that Luke? I wonder. My main skin is, where is it? The fish princess. So I always play with the fish princess. So if you're ever wondering if it's me, Princess Felicity Fish. That's who I play as. Okay. So at least it's not a noob skin. But all of this to say, like, yeah, Destiny is in a really weird spot. They're in a really, really weird spot. Because they don't have players, or at least as many players as they need. And they aren't getting, like, they don't have a monetization model that is so consistently reinforced like Fortnite. Fortnite, with all of these crazy skins they have the ability to just pull people in and regularly get them to buy something new. Because, like, they launched that new season of Futurama, and they had Fry and Leela skins and Bender skins. And so if you wanted that, it's $20. You get all three of them, I think it was. And boom, you got those skins. And then you're also supporting Futurama, which you like. So you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Or with this new Family Guy thing, you want the Peter Griffin skin? Okay, play the Battle Pass, you get the Peter Griffin skin. You want this, you want that, you can do that. And so you can, like, it's constantly reinforcing it and getting you to spend more money. With Bungie and Destiny, like, a lot of it is tied up in big expansions, like whatever, the Final Shape expansion, which might generate a lot of revenue. It might do well, might not. But that's the thing, is there's a question mark, and that's where they're in trouble, because they're already a little bit struggling, because again, they're not at the profitable stage even. They're not even breaking even. And so for chunks of this to still be in question, like, realistically, it's probably like this. Like, this whole chunk is probably all just question marks. They don't actually know if they're going to be able to pull this off and it's very dependent on quality. It's also dependent on what other stuff is coming out around that time, you know, because a lot of players are going to be pulled away to other games if they don't get consistent quality out at the right time. Like, it's just not that simple. It's just not that simple. So, there's very, very valid questions, I think, to bring up with Destiny. I mean, and then with this, the worst case scenario, in this first scenario proposed here, is somewhat rosy. This is the bleak end of the spectrum. In this, Sony doesn't just replace the board. They lose faith in Bungie projects from Destiny to Marathon and think that they will burn more money than they bring in for too long. Here, this would be the realization of some very real internal fears that Bungie would have become essentially a support studio for other high-profile Sony devs, which could result in it being chopped into pieces and likely would come with significant layoffs. This could be Bungie developing their other live service games that are not their own IPs as part of Sony's larger plan, or it could be Bungie devs getting off live service entirely and going to work on the next God of War or Naughty Dog game or whatever. But Bungie would more or less cease to exist. And anybody that thinks that this is too dire, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. It just depends on internal testing of Marathon. With all these live service games, they are doing very regular play tests and seeing player feedback. And in the case of like, oh crap, what was it? Was it X Defiant? It was one of those where like a very famous streamer, I think maybe it was like Ninja, I think. They talked about it on their stream and said that they had gone and done play tests and offered feedback to the devs on the game and what they thought of it and what they thought could be improved or changed or this or that. And the devs took that feedback and they went back and they worked on it. And then when they came back with another play test, they got good responses. And for these big streamers, they're probably paid like 10, 20, 30 grand for their opinion. Like I've been offered chunks of change to go and play test games. So I know for a fact that like the huge streamers are probably getting paid very, very well to go offer their thoughts and feedback, almost like consultants. But with this, I mean, they're doing that, I'm sure, with Marathon, signing all sorts of NDAs and letting some of these big players share their thoughts. And if the feedback is not overwhelmingly positive, it's very possible that Sony looks at it and it's like, it might do okay. But Bungie doesn't need an okay game. This is only getting smaller. This is only dropping as negative press hits, as expansions get delayed, as players start to burn out and go elsewhere. This core revenue is only going to shrink. And at that point, you are reliant either on extra greedy monetization to make up the difference, which again drives this level lower because more and more players get pissed off with it. So this whole bar, this whole thing just shrinks and gets smaller and smaller and smaller, getting you more and more out of the range of profitability and destroying goodwill. So they don't need that. They need something that brings this core level up. They need a smash hit. They need Marathon to just print money. Ideally, they would like it to be, you know, up on Fortnite levels of revenue. And then they can back off of the really greedy monetization. They can back off of that and just rely on core monetization to make the game profitable. And that would be the ideal. Is that going to happen? Probably not. I don't know. Some people are already all about Marathon, even though we know nothing about it. But we'll see. We'll see. All of this to say, though, it seems like this is probably why Bungie has been laying people off. It seems like this is why Bungie has been trying to reorganize stuff, delaying stuff, because they are, obviously, they don't want to have Sony come in and fire the board of directors and a lot of the leadership and game directors and stuff and bring in their own people. They want to remain as independent as they can with the partnership of Sony, but as independent as they can. And it's just unclear if that's actually going to happen. Because again, they missed revenue targets by 50%. Like, again, if you expected $100 for your paycheck and you only got 50, you'd be pretty pissed. That's what happened with Destiny, but on the scale of millions and millions and millions of dollars for a whole year. So you expected to make $50,000 this year? Too bad, you make 25. That's what happened. do you get why Sony's a little pissed? Sony is very pissed off because they're like, we paid 3.6 billion dollars for you, and you can't hit the most basic revenue targets you told us you could hit. Understandably, they're very pissed off, and they're like, your players are bashing your game and leaving in droves. Come on. So I'm worried for Bungie. I would say right now, if I were a betting man, I don't see this magically fixing itself. I don't see them coming out with an expansion that's like so amazing it drives millions of players to it. Like Fortnite casually drops that Eminem event, which if you didn't see that, like this is another thing Fortnite does. Fortnite Eminem. It's weird to type that out. Oh yeah, and I want to pull that up. Like they just straight up have, yeah, he sent it out on his official Eminem page. So like you're playing the game, and this is an event you can do. You've got you and your friends in a little party, and so you're all there in whatever skins you have. And then it's just straight up a concert within Fortnite with Eminem rapping and then like little Guitar Hero things, which by the way, this is apparently a thing Fortnite is doing now. They allow you to use third-party like guitar controllers like GarageBand, not Guitar Band, Guitar Hero, and play that in the game now. Like that's another mode that they support now. Then like Rap God. It's not Rap God, but like whole concert level stuff. Fish dancing. But like this is a free event. Okay? Free event. And this drives millions of players into the game. Tons of people coming in just to experience these types of events. And then, yeah, I'll play a few rounds. Maybe I'll buy that Eminem Marshall Mathers skin, whatever, for $10. Just like that. Whereas Marathon, or rather Bungie with Destiny 2, they're struggling to get $10 out of anybody because they offer like, oh, it's a weapon skin. And then you can also pre-buy this expansion that was delayed by a year. You know, it's very, very difficult to compete with Fortnite, but it's because Fortnite has, like, they are the masters of it. I know everybody can like meme on it, like, lol, Fortnite's so cringy. But the reason Fortnite is so well known is because Fortnite and the devs over there, they are like masters at what they do. They are the industry leaders as far as I'm concerned. It used to be Call of Duty. Call of Duty had it figured out. But no, it's like, it's all Fortnite. Fortnite, it's not only pretty pro-consumer being purely cosmetic stuff, but it's also pretty good. Like the game itself is very fun, which is refreshing. You know? Like Call of Duty, it's all monetized to holy hell. And then also it's like the game itself is regularly broken, and then weapons that they sell within the shop, you can buy the blueprints to bypass the grind, so it is gameplay affecting. So it's not actually very pro-consumer. There's just so many different things with it. Where's Rocky been? Rocky's had a good amount of stuff going on. They also cycle in content, often guns and map changes. Yeah, they'll give you like Spider-Man swinging on the map, and then they bring like the swords that warp around, or they might swap it out. And so what do they have now? It's like the, do they have the plunger gun thing to zip around the map? They have that. They also have the like rope and dart thing. There's lots. There's lots. Lots and lots of stuff. Yeah, they have Star Wars. They've managed to cross over with like everything. And now Lego and Rocket League. It's crazy. Yeah, Fantastic is shutting down. I don't even know what that means though, because they apparently didn't even have developers. They only had volunteers. So what does it even mean for them to shut down and walk away? I don't even know. Like, what does that even mean? It's like a Fantastic shutting down. It's like my made up It's like when you're a kid and you have like a lemonade stand. And you're like, yeah, I'm sorry guys, the lemonade stand shutting down. We're laying off everybody. And you're like, it's a lemonade stand. You didn't even have employees. What are you talking about? That's fantastic shutting down. I think they're shutting down because they want to try to like shut down all of their bank accounts and everything. Because as the game gets returned more and more and more, they're getting hit with more and more charges since Steam is likely keeping their cuts of the units sold. So I think they're just hemorrhaging money, and they didn't have much money to begin with. So I think they're in a lot of trouble, and they're just freaking out. So, yeah. I think they thought, oh, we developed the game basically for free, so we can release the game, and even if we get like 5,000 units sold, we still make money. We'll still make good money, right? What they didn't, I think, anticipate is just that 95% of people are going to refund the game, and that costs them money. So I think they thought that they were basically going to just scam people releasing a game that is not good at all, but that a few people won't be able to return because they played for 2 hours and 5 minutes or something. And they just miscalculated. Now they're losing all this money. Do you think GTA 6 will be good? Yeah, I mean, everything they do is good, so. Any statement from Mytona? I don't think so. I haven't seen anything. If that was their plan, they should have done it on PS5 where refunds are much harder to obtain. Dude, for real. Or Nintendo. The eShop, it's impossible to get refunds for anything. Because, I don't know if you know this, but if you don't have a Switch, what they require you to do, so basically like new MS Paint. Okay. What Nintendo does, or rather what Steam does. So Steam, they have it so you use your money, okay? And then you pay Steam for a game. Let's just say, I don't know, we'll just say day before, okay? You pay for the day before with your money, and then you play the game, you decide you don't actually like it, so you want a refund, you file the refund. And because this is all that happened, the money went straight for the product, and you can say, hey, the product isn't what I liked. I didn't like this, so I want a refund. They can send you back that money, and you get your refund. Everybody's happy. What happens on the eShop is way more toxic. You have to, on the eShop, spend your money to deposit funds into your Nintendo account. So money goes into Nintendo. I'll just say like currency. And then after the money goes into Nintendo, they then go and spend that money on the game. So day before, hi, babe. How are you? But then if you want a refund, you can't actually claim that you're just unhappy with this because they're like, yeah, you're upset with that? Okay, well, we'll just give you back the Nintendo currency. You don't actually get your money back because you paid for this thing. You got this. You can't dispute that. You got the currency. You got the Nintendo credit. You just didn't like where the Nintendo credit was then used for. So, like, it's this backwards way of preventing you from getting refunds. It's super toxic. Do you want to say hi? Probably in a few minutes. I'll let him in. You say hi?
Hello.
You talk too quiet. Yeah.
Hello there.
Everybody's like, and now the joke is that when you come in, everybody's like, lol, Luke's such a simp. Which, let's be honest, is pretty funny. Yeah, fanny pack. Yeah, she has a fanny pack. Do you want to show it off?
Yeah, I do. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hands free, babes.
Yeah.
Hands free.
I do have what is technically a fanny pack coming in the mail, but
What?
it can be used for a fanny pack or as a crossbody sling thing. We'll see if it sucks. I want a crossbody sling because I have to carry 2 phones. That's not my phone. I have to carry 2 phones and like my wallet. And I don't know about you guys. I can't stand like when you're walking around in public and you have like the bulge in your side pocket and then like your phones are shoved in there. So then you also have this, and it's pulling your pants down. So like you're always trying really hard not to flash somebody your butt crack.
No, I don't think most people have the issue of having two massive phones.
Well, I also don't have a butt, so that's the other thing. It's just
Oh, that's how it levels out. If you don't have a butt, you're allowed to have two phones.
yeah, it's like trying to put pants on a straw. It's just it falls straight down. It doesn't work.
I have to go be a parent.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they being cute?
They are. They are. We went to a play group.
I can show you guys this. This morning, Lockie went down to the
I made a play area.
yeah, his little play area by one of the back walkouts. And I was like, where's Lockie? What's he doing? And then I look off and he's just sitting on a chair all by himself, just reading a book, just chilling, just reading.
The cutie.
Yeah, he just grabbed his book, went and sat on the couch in the corner. It was very cute. Oh yeah, Mr. Ori. Mr. Ori. He's doing very good. He's been off oxygen for 2 days now, and he's doing great. His oxygen levels are all in the 90s, even when he's sleeping. He's doing great. So, when is Nikki starting her own channel? She has the stuff for streaming set up. She just has to do the thing.
I feel really awkward. I'll do it. I'm just worried in the process I'll say something that gets you canceled.
I mean,
And that's
that
why
would be
I'm
very
really
funny.
hesitant. I'm like, oh no, I have no filter. I'm in trouble.
What would you plan on saying?
I don't know. I'd probably like talk about all your phones.
Talk about my phones.
No, it's just gonna become a Luke venting channel and be like, Luke never puts his dirty dishes in the dishwasher, even when it's empty. Never. And then I cry.
I'm somebody, and I think a lot of guys are like this. I have like breakfast. I put the dishes in the sink, and like I'll do breakfast and lunch dishes all at the same time. Nikki wants to like, you have breakfast, and then you go and you put everything right. You clean it right away. You finish it. And I'm just, I put everything into, like projects that I can knock out all at once.
I don't even eat until all of the dishes that I use to cook are clean.
Yeah.
Or in the dishwasher.
That to me is weird. Like I get if you want to do the dishes before you're done eating, but like if I make dinner, the pots and pans are still out. We eat dinner while it's hot, and then after dinner you do the dishes.
But here's the thing.
She wants to do it before.
You eat and you don't have to worry about all the dishes you have to do. You just get to eat and you take however much yum you want. You're not worried about something like congealing on a pan and becoming really hard to clean. You just clean it, put it away, eat, and you're like, oh, wow, this is lovely. And then just put the dish in the dishwasher. And the dishes, they're done. There's no like, oh, I don't feel like doing it. It's already done.
The one exception with that is just that I think, like, if it's a soup that's really, really hot, yeah, no, do the pot. Like, clean the pot real quick. Who cares?
Yeah.
But if it's like, I don't know, if it's anything else that you like made in a regular pan or this or that, I just don't know why you would let your food get cold when you can just do it all at the same time. It's not like that 10 minutes or 20 minutes of eating is going to make that big of a difference.
So, I mean, if I were to start a channel, I was like initially thinking it'd be about Dragon Age and Baldur's Gate 3, but now I think it's just going to be the stress of a millennial housewife.
Oh,
Lame.
you should show them I actually saved the picture.
What?
Hold on. Ori is now like mobile. So it used to be that we could just like set him up kind of on a blanket on the floor, and he would just lay there, do his thing, and he'd be fine. But now he can like just roll, just like you set him there and he just rolls across the floor.
He doesn't need to crawl.
Yeah. And so like Nikki was trying to play games. She set him next to her and then like looks over and he's just like off, rolled away, like trying to open the door to leave. Or like this one, where he's just like rolled and he's just holding his feet, just trying to get away. It's just, oh, he's delightful.
I'm gonna go be a mom.
Okay, I love you.
Love you. Don't let the cats.
Oh yeah, no, they just went in there. They're good. They got their beds and food and everything in there. I have extra beds in here. Yeah, he's a rebel. How old is Orion? He is almost 6 months in like 4 days. You got autofocus now? Yeah, when I upgraded the camera, It has eye tracking. These old cameras, I mean, I have them over here, but one of these is bricked. The other one is this top-down camera for Lego building. Hold on, why isn't it working? There we go. That's this other one. So it's a little crooked. Hold on. We can fix this. We'll do it live. Like that. So like these cameras were the old cameras that were like the main. And this was the lens I'd use for the top. And then this was the other lens I'd use for the primary angle, but they are manual. There's no autofocus. There's no motor to do autofocus in this. So you just can't. And it worked fine because like I'm sitting in the same spot every day. Who needs autofocus? It's fine. Who cares? But when I upgraded the camera because this is a cinema camera, so this can do 4K 60 for the main channel videos. And on stream, it just, gets downscaled down to 1080. But yeah, it had the support for 4K 60 and autofocus, so why not use it? But one of these cameras is bricked, and I don't know why. It's the newer one, too. Like, the old camera is fine, but the newer one is just a paperweight now. Just one day it didn't turn on, and you can't do anything about it. It's really stupid. Really stupid. Luke's new studio is weird. I remember when Nikki came into the room, we used to be able to see the door opening. Now it's on the other side. Yeah. Now it's like back there, out of the way. 4K 60 and the 16X on his shirt still pixelated. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Where's the professionalism? Yeah, Cameron, F's in the chat for fantastic. Yeah, thank you for the 5. Judson, thank you for the 5. It's weird growing up with Epic Games. With Epic Games with Gears of War franchise. I'm sure today's kids don't know about that. Wish Epic would come back to Gears of War. I mean, I think that they'll eventually circle back with most of this stuff. Because they're sitting on all these IP. Why not? Why not? Let's see. Stefan, thank you for the super chat. Please use this towards purchasing a drawing tablet with stylus and all. You use drawing as a means of expression too often to not improve it. I tried getting a little bitty Wacom tablet once because I was like, oh, I'll use it. I think I got like this really cheap one, and it was fine, but it broke my brain because if you've never used these, like it doesn't. Of course, there's nothing on the tablet. It's just like a blank slate, just like you see here. And so as you're trying to draw with it, like you have to be able to stare at your screen and then mentally map with your hand and the little rectangle or square where the stylus is. And it takes a lot of practice to get used to. I'm not very good at it. And so it kind of broke my brain. Something like this, I think could be nice because it actually has the display, so I'd be able to see what I'm writing and drawing as I do it. This is definitely overkill for for what I need, because this is like for actual artists, and I'd be using it to draw terrible bar charts and stuff. But what I did a few times was I actually used I wonder if I can do this. Do this here. What I did a few times was I used a little USB-C to HDMI adapter. And come on. Like where this just updated, so it's like very slow. Where is a sketch? Like notes maybe? Like this. Hold on. Let me see if this works. Because I have this. I don't actually remember what it's connected to. I don't know if it's actually connected to anything. It's not. Hold on. I'll plug it in. I didn't hit the power button. Yay. Let's see if this worked. Okay, so I plugged this in. And then can I video capture iPad is what I have it labeled, and then it's gonna be Blackmagic 3. It did not work. Activate. Do I have to press a button? Did this work? No, it did not. Custom 4K maybe? I don't know. It's not working. See, I used to have this working, but now it does not. So I don't know. I guess I do need a drawing tablet. I was going to try to get fancy and use this, but I don't think this is going to work. Oh, well. Oh, well. Wonder if I could turn my S23 Ultra into that. Probably. Because they have all the support for it. I could probably get it working if I mess with it, but love seeing you guys together on stream. I hope you achieve that one day. I mean, having a wife and my kids coming in while I'm streaming. Oh yeah, that's always fun. It's a nice little surprise. God of War Valhalla. Yeah, I think we'll try it. Dude, just buy some crayons and a notebook. Well, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, it would be very funny to just go total overkill with something like this. I always feel bad. Like I have bought overkill stuff in the past for the channel, and it's, you know, it helps the channel and everything, but it's like, you definitely don't need this level of hardware for what I'm doing. And I always feel kind of bad because I'm like, there's a lot of people that actually could use this tool that don't have it, and then I'm just casually using it like it's nothing. Makes me feel bad. Get a giant whiteboard. I could, like, imagine a whiteboard that has like a swivel arm, so I can just like pull it down right next to me, and then we pull it out like class to start drawing. Okay, class. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Jacob or Trevor, I'm going to have them cut together like a really funny 90s cringy intro, like for a 90s cable access show. And every time I go on to my MS Paint, it's going to do like the whole VHS staticky effect. And then it's going to be like, and welcome to MS Paint with Luke. You know, we'll do the whole thing. I think it'll be funny. Are you going to build Lego sets on stream with your oldest child? Eventually, yeah. Can do. Okay, Jacob's on it. Yeah, just like go full 90s cable access show, and yeah, like a 90s PBS special or cable access show. And then it's just like, so when we're streaming and I'm like, okay, you know what we got to do? And then I press the button and it's a little transitionary scene, and it just, maybe there's even a jingle to it. Jacob can do that. Just something so it pops up, and then we go into MS Paint. I think that'd be funny because we do it enough, you know? We do it enough. The Bob Ross of MS Paint, yeah. Okay, let's do new segment, okay? So, I've said a lot, hype makes you stupid. And I don't mean that to be insulting to anybody. I say it because hype puts up blinders. And when you're hyped for something, you stop seeing the warning signs, you stop seeing concerning stuff with it, and instead, you just buy into like the most bare bones marketing jargon that these executives put out without so much as a second thought. We saw it with Starfield in full form when I was like, hey, believe it or not, the Creation Engine 2, still the Creation Engine. It's going to have all the problems that the Creation Engine has. Nothing's going to magically change because it's the same thing it's always been. You know, that I can't believe I have to say this, but that's what it's going to be. And I got hate for it. I've mentioned this before. I was working on a collaboration. Sorry, my work phone is blowing up. I'm going to mute this. Mute. It's supposed to be muted. Okay, just do not disturb. So there's like I've talked about this before, but there was a creator I was going to do a collaboration with on the Creation Engine 2, and I had talked to them about it, and we were going to do it. And basically, they were like, so what exactly do you want to do on the video? And I was like, I want to debunk the idea that the Creation Engine 2 is going to be this crazy revamp of the engine. I want to go through how it's just marketing crap, that they're trying to say it's a brand new engine that's going to be totally different. I think it's going to have all of the same issues as the Creation Engine from Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. It's just marketing to rewrap it as the Creation Engine 2. And he backed out and basically ghosted me for the collaboration because he had bought into the marketing hype as well. And now a lot of those videos that creator made back then don't look very good because obviously it was just marketing. And all of those problems with the Creation Engine are still there today. So, you know, I don't hate to say I told you so. I love it. I relish it. I told you so. So, like hype, though, in that situation, he was getting hyped for the game, and it put blinders up, and he wasn't able to see the forest for the trees, right? As the saying goes. He was so fixated on this one individual thing he was really excited for, he forgot and couldn't see the broader picture. So with this, I'm seeing the warning signs. There's not just warning signs. There's like, you know, the opening of freaking, what's the song? It's in Les Mis. Do you hear the people sing maybe? Is that it? Yeah, it's this. Okay, this isn't just a red flag. Okay, this is like the Les Miserables full-on flag swinging from the top of the barricade. Okay, this is it. Okay, they hop up here and then they swing the flags around. Okay, we're gonna try to, yeah, this is what we're dealing with right now. Okay, just oceans of red flags. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. Specifically with Light No Fire. Now, I want to say, Light No Fire seems interesting, okay? This is the next game coming from Hello Games. These are the guys that did No Man's Sky, which obviously had a lot of hype around it. And so a lot of people are very, very interested in this. And let's be honest, they have done an amazing job, a phenomenal job of winning back players and turning around No Man's Sky. I mean, it started as just a travesty, and they've turned it into an incredibly impressive and vast in scope game. There's a ton there. Like, there's so much with No Man's Sky, I don't even know how you would begin breaking it down for new players. It's ridiculously huge. And they've added a ton of stuff. I mean, it's very, very impressive. So now they're talking about their next game that they've been working on for 5 years with a small team. According to Sean Murray, they said it's around, I think he said 12 people working on it. So that's interesting. And he talked about this at the Game Awards and then shared a trailer. And there were some jokes. I mean, Jeff was like, oh no, here it goes. Here we go again. It's starting again. And everybody's kind of joking about him over-promising and under-delivering. But I think the joke is not being like acknowledged by a lot of people. And a lot of people are just, they're just, I think they're starting to maybe fall for it is not the right term. I think Sean Murray isn't trying to deceive anybody. I think he just has a problem with setting reasonable expectations. And he's very good at selling games for somebody that's not a salesman. But he gets himself into trouble a lot because with gamers, especially the types of gamers that this type of game appeals to, you have to be very, very on top of it and very specific with what is in the game, what isn't. Scope, understanding this is being made by 12 people. It's not going to be ridiculously massive, okay? Like, we just have to be very clear. So this is the trailer that they dropped. We'll just go through it real quick, and then we're gonna talk about what we actually are seeing. A multiplayer Earth. So before he announced this, how he described it was that it's like No Man's Sky, but sort of inverted. So No Man's Sky is about giving you a universe, galaxies and galaxies of stars and planets to explore. This is like that, but flipped on its head. And so it's an Earth-sized planet to explore. And frankly, I think this would have been a much better thing for like Bethesda to do for Starfield. I think if they had done this and given you a massive sci-fi planet to explore, or a few, that would have been way better than 1,000 planets that were all really uninteresting. And already just here, I mean, what you're seeing on screen now, I think is more interesting visually and in terms of biomes and setup. I think this is way more interesting than anything you see in No Man's Sky. In No Man's Sky, it's all like very little variability. It's like, oh, this planet looks kind of red and has these weird purple trees. And then this planet is kind of blue with green trees. It's just not very varied. So I think this looks really compelling. And apparently it is a planet, I believe he implied, larger than the actual Earth, but that you can play with your friends on. You can all play together. And so it's probably limited to like North America. Different servers will have, you know, their own player caps, but presumably there could be hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of players on a single planet all playing together, which is really cool. It's a really interesting concept. I like it. And they show rocks falling apart. Okay. And then the logo pull. And there we are with the guy standing on the thumb, and it's called Light No Fire. So after seeing that trailer, what's the takeaway? My takeaway is that it's a cool concept. There's like some building. It looks like there's boats and stuff. There's a badger flying like hummingbirds. I don't know what you do in the game though. If this is like allowing you to build bases and stuff, that's okay. That could be fun. You see them building stuff, collecting wood and logs and everything. That could be cool. And maybe that's enough. I mean, it could be that this is purely like your standard survival game. And so you have to collect resources, you go, you build different stuff, and that's what it is. That's okay. Minecraft is built basically on that premise, and it's fantastic, you know, and extremely impressive. Maybe this is just like an evolution of Minecraft. That could be really, really cool. I'm open to it. But in terms of what we've actually seen of gameplay loops, there's almost nothing here. Like, yeah, you can break trees, build stuff. I mean, yeah, you can go around. There are like these dynamically placed things. So exploration is, I'm sure, a part of it. Discovering different things, maybe tying you into a little bit of a story that's kind of vaguely told. But there's really not much here to conclude what is happening or what you're supposed to do or how they keep you engaged for days, weeks, months, years of gameplay, right? So I think this is an interesting concept, but I don't think we have any information to actually make any sort of informed, I guess, conclusion. Like, this is one of those instances where you just simply say, oh, that's cool. We'll wait to see more. That's all you got to do. I don't think it looks bad, but I don't think it looks particularly great. I think it's an interesting idea that we'll see if they can execute. With No Man's Sky, they did not execute it, and it took them years to build it up to the point where they delivered on most of what they had promised. But already, I mean, people are starting to lose track of this, okay? This trailer is at 5.9 million views. Basically took what they got good at with No Man's Sky and went ham to make it a whole ass game on one planet. Pretty cool, guys. I approve. This looks great. Take your time, guys. It's done when it's done. True. This looks very promising. I'm really interested to see how exploring such a world would be dealt with. Some random thoughts. I hope exploration is non-trivial, even challenging. I really love the idea of exploration being something that you must prepare for, commit to, and possibly fail rather than just being able to walk the park. It's a strength of Subnautica. Totally agree. I hope the world will not be too filled with stuff. Scarcity and empty areas make all that. Yeah, I mean, Bethesda said that in those reviews, responses to reviews. It's like, well, the astronauts weren't bored when they went to the moon, so you shouldn't be bored. So interesting, you know, people. It looks amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Love you all. Cool, cool, cool. So lots of people very, very excited. And I've started to get messages and people being like, oh, this looks pretty amazing. What are you going to say now? Somebody sent a message to me and they're like, so you've been pretty harsh on Sean Murray for No Man's Sky. I bet you feel pretty silly now after seeing Light No Fire. I'm like, oh my God, you're doing the thing. You're doing the thing. If we do a side-by-side look, this was put together by Random 5. People like, this guy took the two trailers and just put them side by side. And I mean, come on. Come on. Then you come out of the water, you see the animals flying overhead, flashes of different biomes and areas, the forests. Like it's very close. It's very, very close, you know? I think it definitely looks way better, but again, like they don't have a great track record. Okay. They've won back a lot of people, but this is a new game. This is something different than No Man's Sky. And it's being put together by a very small team, okay? And small teams aren't magic. This was the whole story of No Man's Sky, is that this is not, these guys are not magical. They don't have magical abilities. They are limited by the laws of physics, okay? So it's not going to magically change what 12 people are able to put together just because you're really hyped for it, okay? And in this case, there were a lot of scripted sequences that weren't in the game at launch, which, you know, was quite deceptive. I understand that they ended up like cutting a lot of stuff and it didn't work in the game, so they had to cut it. So they thought it was going to be in the game when they put it together, but you know, when they put the trailer together, but then they had to cut it. I get all of that. There are mitigating circumstances, but still the perception to the player is that it's just deceptive. So I mean, to me, the trailers are pretty similar. The logos are also very, very similar. It makes me wonder if this is part of like the same universe. You know, like very similar vibe to the logos. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but maybe. So now, of course, though, we look back on No Man's Sky and everybody's like, no, that was clearly, that was overhyped. We were being crazy to think that would actually come in. But one of the clips we've looked at in the past is from E3 2015. And it is one of the most cringy and yet accurate examples of somebody's brain on hype. And this is why I'm going to show it to you, because it's very, very easy to turn into this person. And I don't want to like bash on him or hate him. I'm not saying that like he as an individual is stupid or dumb or anything. I'm sure he's an incredibly smart guy. But you're going to see just how much hype can corrupt your brain and turn you into somebody that sounds insane and kind of unstable. So this is it. It's a clip from Game Trailers Live at E3 2015. Little setup. The guy that is extremely hyped is this individual right here. The other two guys on the right, I think they're interested in the game, but this whole interview, they're kind of taking a more passive position. They're not going, it's not really an interview, it's a podcast kind of thing, but they're going to take a much more passive position. And a couple times they're actually, I think, going to troll him a little bit. I'm not sure if he realizes he's being trolled, but they're going to kind of mess with him a little bit. And then this guy on the far left is going to be taking the role of the proud skeptic. Okay. He's going to be the one speaking truth, spitting facts, and keeping people kind of toned down. And you're going to see just how somebody really hyped responds to somebody asking very high quality, valid questions. And it's very satisfying. Okay. So just buckle up.
Video games could just be things where you
If
go
you need
into...
to think about that in silence during this Just Played, I'm gonna let you do that.
I'm sorry,
That's
that,
okay,
that
that's
is
an
actually a
option.
really good question. I respect it.
I like it. Today's been full of really good questions. We are in no shortage for quips, for intelligent responses, for careful analysis, for pointed questions. We failed, lost it. We're good.
All good fun.
All right, here we go. Okay, all right, professional. Okay, we're going.
Is it too quiet? Hold on. I think I can fix it. I got an extension to fix this very issue. Please hold. Please hold. Oh, it's going to make me sign in. Oh my God. Do I have it? I do have it on this one. Let me just do this. Okay, close that. This, paste it here.
So I was just trying to think about that. I was trying to think
Here, and then I can raise the volume.
like if video games could just be things where you
If
go
you need
into...
to think about that in silence during this Just Played, I'm gonna let you do that.
Is that better?
I'm sorry,
That's
that,
okay,
that
that's
is
an
actually a
option.
really good question.
And you're going at me 3. You'll notice we're standing for this one. We're pumped. Yeah.
Okay.
We need information about this. Yes. You know, it's just like, okay, we're excited about this game, but I'm nervous about this. Or like, oh, you know, we're not excited about it, but I want to hear good news. I need a hook. I need the thing of No Man's Sky. I need to know, okay, we're getting to the center of the galaxy, great, but what am I doing? I'm going to a planet and I'm just smelling flowers and then I fly somewhere else? What is happening in this game? Yeah.
Extremely valid question. Okay. It's a video game. What do you do in the video game? There's no answer. Okay. Back in 2015, No Man's Sky looked really impressive. There was like, oh, it's a whole universe of stuff. And then there's like space pirates and stuff, but nobody knew what you did. You know, it wasn't clear what the gameplay loop was. And this was something that also happened with like Starfield, where people were just like, okay, so it's 1,000 planets. What do you do on the planets that makes it fun to have 1,000 planets? Like, what is the hook? What's the thing? And often there wasn't an answer. And in this case, it's the same exact thing that happens. It's just history repeating itself. And I'm starting to see people forgetting to ask this same question with this Light No Fire or whatever it's called, with their new game.
Spend more.
Sean Murray would not like you. He wouldn't like you. I'm sorry.
All right.
And
That's fine.
And who cares? This is, again, like hype and a cult of personality tied up into one. You're going to hear him say stuff like this a handful of times where he like thinks that telling you Sean Murray wouldn't like you is like going to change your mind or cause you to rethink it. Like, why would that mean anything to me? You can tell me like, oh, Luke, you saying that OD trailer looked hilariously terrible. I'd be like, okay, cool. And they're like, well, Hideo Kojima wouldn't like you saying that. Cool. I don't like when he writes 30-minute cutscenes with dialogue that could have been communicated in 20 seconds. We both have problems with each other. Cool. Like, I don't care. Like, how is that a counter to anything that's been said? It's really, really uncomfortable.
hold on.
Whoa!
The reason I am the most the reason that I am most excited for this Just Played is because this is the first. I've been working in this industry for 2 years. This is the first time that I feel like I have.
Okay, just buckle up. Okay. Again, he's worked in the industry for 2 years, and this is the first time that something's happened. Whatever you think he's about to say, it's like this has turned into a meme in our community. People joke about this all the time, but like he's saying this unironically. This is not a joke. He actually means what he's about to say.
This industry for 2 years. This is the first time that I feel like I had an emotional connection with a human being. Like it wasn't just, hey, your game is cool. No, you said something that made me reflect on what it means to be alive, basically.
This is the first time I've felt a connection to a human being. Made me reflect on what it means to be alive. Whoa. Like, the most telling thing is that, like, this guy on the far left, he starts to chuckle because he thinks he's joking, and he's not joking. And so then he kind of tries to collect himself, and you'll see him kind of shift. So watch this again.
No, you said something, an emotional connection.
Watch him chuckle.
Being. Like it wasn't just, hey, your
See
game is
chuckle?
cool.
He looks over to see, are they going to laugh too? Is he serious? And then he realizes he's nodding. He realizes he's being serious, and then he gets uncomfortable and shifts and readjusts.
No, you said something that made me reflect.
And there's okay. Like he can't tell if he's being serious because this is that outrageous. So, like again, if you ever have like an experience in any hobby that makes you feel like you had the first connection with a human being in years, I would tell you like, okay, I think that's more a sign of what else is going on in your life. Like, no, all jokes aside, okay, all jokes aside, if you're only feeling human connection by watching an E3 presentation for a video game that hasn't come out yet, like, I think you should go try to find a friend group. You should go spend time with your family if you have some family members. Like, you need to get out and touch grass. Like, there's something like that's concerning to me. Okay, you should not have to rely on E3 presentations to give your life meaning. Okay, I can't believe I have to say this, but I think at that point you might be in a little bit too deep, and you can hear it in the tone of his voice, like he's actually quivering. Like he means everything he's saying. He means everything he's saying.
Reflect on what it means to be alive, basically.
Like again, his reaction, he goes, Jesus. You can hear it under his breath. Again, he's shocked at what he's saying. He's like, no way he's being serious.
Said something that made me reflect on what it means to be alive, basically.
What about?
He's like, are you serious, dude? Oh my God. It just keeps getting worse. But this is not a joke. This is not like a parody. This is real.
For Honor was different. It was like the game impressed me, but it was like, no, your vision, you going after your dreams, and the way that you said it, and the emotion with which you said it, really got to me. So there was a woman. I'm gonna jump to the end of this demo really quick. I need to say this. It's been burning inside me.
I want it.
The entire day. There was a woman who said exactly what you said. So we're going to the center of the galaxy. Why? What's the point? What's my motivation?
Yeah, a valid question because we're talking about video games, you know. Video games are supposed to have gameplay loops, core mechanics, and stuff like.
My earning, and not Alex Hutchinson, Sean Murray, what he wanted to do, the facial expression that he had is he wanted to grab this person that asked the question and shake them, but he didn't. He gritted his teeth and he said, "What is the point? What is the point of anything?" He said, "I have played so many games where I'm just going around and I'm collecting things to get stars, to get puzzle pieces. And those are all great. I've enjoyed all of those games." But he said, "I'm excited about where games are going." Okay, Super Mario Brothers was the game that got me excited about games. But what I'm excited about is Minecraft, right? Kids today, they don't care about achievement points. They don't care about trophies. They care about how they can express themselves in a virtual world. And my dream is to give you infinite possibilities, to give you this space that where you can fully explore. And I want to, as little as possible, I don't want to tell you what you should be doing. The impetus is on you. So in no matter...
This to me is like the exact same tone and vibe that you hear when people are like describing cults, that you hear when people are expressing their experience within like groups that have, let's just say, strong mental influences on behavior. So like, what's the old clip? Tom Cruise with the black turtleneck. So like, he did this interview and he just sounds like a raving lunatic.
When I read it, I just went, this is it.
When I watched the trailer for
being a
No Man's Sky.
When you drive past an accident, it's not like anyone else. As you drive past, you know you have to do something about it because you know you're the only one that can really help.
It's like, it's a little unsettling. It's a little scary. Or the other one was John Travolta on L. Ron Hubbard. Let me see if I can find the exact clip of him talking about it. No, they've probably scrubbed it. Yeah, I think they've scrubbed it. There's an old video of Elron or of John Travolta in like a full army uniform. He was filming some TV show or something, and he's talking about L. Ron Hubbard, and he's like, he's just so brilliant. He's stunning, and he makes me rethink my life and everything about existence itself. And like, you listen to this guy, and you're talking about a guy that wrote more fictional books in his life than any other author in history. Like, you're talking about just a guy that we know that lived very recently. What are you talking about? Like, you sound very on edge, and it's the same vibe that happens with emotional manipulation or any amount of hype or hyper obsession with anything else. This is not a new phenomenon. It happens with video game hype. It happens with cults. It happens with all sorts of different things. It's a human phenomenon. Okay. But like this guy is a prime example because this was live and this was something put forward at E3 without any jokes or gags or anything. But I think it is the prime example of just how much this can alter your way of thinking to the point where you start to feel bad for the guy. You know, I think you're gonna see it. You're gonna start to feel bad for him as we continue to go on. Mauer, thank you for the super chat as well. Just want to be there and tell that dude, I hear what you're saying, and touch some grass. Seriously. Yeah, it's if you tie up your self-worth in an E3 presentation, something's gone wrong. Okay, like we need to calm down a little bit. And I'm telling you, as somebody that lives and breathes video games, like this is my career, this is what I do day in, day out. And I don't assign that much personal value to these games. Like, I love games. I love games to be good. I like playing games. But if like I was faced with an ultimatum and I was like, okay, I can never watch a gaming event again. I can never play video games again. Like, I would be upset and I'd be bummed, of course. And I'd have to do a lot of refocusing, but I'd be okay because I have like a family that grounds me and I have kids and I have other things that I can balance myself out with. But when your life is being defined by E3 presentations and it's the first time in 2 years you felt a human connection, something's gone wrong. P.S. Halog as well. Thank you for the sub at tier 1 over on Twitch. Appreciate you. And Danomite also, thank you for subbing with Prime. I think I missed that because the stream dropped, but thank you, my friend, for that sub. Appreciate you. It sounds a lot like Starfield fans. It's changed their lives. Yeah, some people are like that, man. It's scary. But again, this is why it's not always a case of somebody being, it's not always the case that somebody's being stupid or being idiotic. And I know it's really easy for us to look at like fanboys and be like, oh, you're being stupid. This is dumb. You should have seen it. But sometimes it's something deeper. It's like an emotional connection to it where they are tied to the idea of an experience. And it's no longer a matter of evaluating a video game. It is an emotional thing.
No Man's Sky. Emotional. There is no point. You are trying to get to the set.
In No Man's Sky, there is no point. Quote of the day.
Galaxy. Do it or don't. Sean Murray doesn't care at all. He says
again, Sean Murray. It's a cult of personality. Who cares what Sean Murray thinks about this? Like, he's just the game's director. Why do you care? It's the same. I hear people do this all the time with like Hideo Kojima and Todd Howard, where they think that dropping a name is supposed to make you pause and reflect when they're just a guy. Like, they're just somebody who makes video games, and they've made some good ones. They made some bad ones. Like, it's not that crazy. Like, it's just wild how emotionally tied in a lot of people can get with this. Oh, Sean, thank you so much. Shout out Poggers to Sean. Gifted 5 memberships over on YouTube. So welcome to Hellspawn, Dre, Erikos, Hashem, Just Call Me Cannon, and Khalid. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. The GOAT. The GOAT, Sean. The GOAT. The only Sean I worship. Yeah, the real Sean. The real Sean's here.
The most popular way people have played his game is what they've done is they've found valuable resources like fuel, which is one of the most valuable. They've bought it for a really cheap price in one system. They've flown to another system, figured out that they could sell it for a super high price, and they've done that for dozens of hours. They've just been traders, right? But they don't pick the trader class. They organically figure out that this is something that's exciting to them. This is how they want to play the game.
Right, but right here at this Just Play is the first time I've ever heard the word trading. Like, you can trade.
Yeah, there's
awesome.
classes in it.
There's no classes. It's just those people. That's what they became.
Can you be a monster?
Who are you trading with?
Can you go to different planets and like hunt monsters and get their
you
skins?
You can be okay. So here was something that shocked me about No Man's Sky. Okay, so he's running around and there's this creature. It kind of looks like a ram, but it's purple. That's the best way I can describe it.
Sure,
I'm
purple
sorry.
ram, okay.
And he has his laser gun, which he can use to mine, but he can also use to shoot things. He shot the purple ram. Okay, all of a sudden, there's a wanted level. I'm not kidding. That's what he called it, a wanted level. Space police came and they started.
Because you can't kill that rhino.
Right.
Yeah.
And they started attacking him.
Yeah.
And then he shot back, and then their wanted level increased. And then this battle cruiser came in and was like, "No, you can't do that here." And he was so cagey about getting into the specifics. So again,
he was so cagey about it, and like, Again, who cares? It's just a guy. Okay, it's just a guy. I also kind of like this angle. Do you like this angle? Because with the webcam and then the legs beneath me, it kind of looks like I'm standing, but I have really, really long legs and a very small body. Don't you kind of like that? Ooh. Doesn't that kind of work? I kind of have to do that. Does that work? I like it. Yeah, so you see, like, I think they're kind of playing with him and like poking and prodding a little bit, but like what this is telling me more than anything, okay, and I've heard this with Starfield, I hear it with like WoW, I hear it with the day before, not so much now. But people like really excited over games that have no clear goal because they're looking for an alternative reality to escape to. And so they love the idea of being able to go and just find a new life in the video game. It's the same thing with Star Citizen. People do it all the time in Star Citizen. We're like, what do you do in Star Citizen? And they don't really have specifics to tell you. Even though I've played Star Citizen, there are specifics, but a lot of people won't get into them because they just like the idea of an escape to a different reality. And to me, that's what's really, really sad, because it's not that they just are really excited for a video game that looks really good, like Red Dead 3 or GTA 6 or something. They're looking for an escape from this world and to play another life. And that, to me, is just very sad. Because I don't want anybody to have a life that's so lame or uninteresting to them that they would rather live a different life in another escapist world. I'd like them to love their life in this world, you know? But sometimes it's not that simple.
But what it seemed like and what Sean Murray implied is that you don't know what you will encounter on different planets. And I felt for him. And I
felt for him. Again, very strange, emotional language related to a guy that gave a presentation at E3. Because that's all Sean Murray was, especially at this point. But even today, he's just a game developer. But it's like emotional. I really felt for him. What?
I knew why he was so frustrated about answering what is the point. Because he legitimately, every single time he went to a new planet, he said, I don't know what's going to be here. There might be a police force that will come and reprimand you for doing these things. There might not be. There might be nothing. You might land.
I think he's just trying to decide if he keeps doing this. If I were on this panel, I would seriously be like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I think you mean well, but the language you're using is making me extremely uncomfortable, because it's clear this is not about evaluating a video game for you. This is an emotional thing for you. And I don't think that we can have like a rationed discussion about it in this state. Yeah, it's very, very strange. Sean Swaim, thank you. Also gifted a membership to God Emperor Sofa King. Booyah. Booyah. Thank you, my friend. Another Sean.
No life at all.
But at the same time, what you're talking about, like what you're saying, where you're like, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything in Spider-Man 2 for the PS2. You don't have to do anything in Grand Theft Auto 5. You don't have to do anything in Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Brandon Jones.
He starts like freaking out at a counter opinion. Like, again, the exact same thing happens if you talk to somebody in a cult and you're like, okay, you realize that this guy that you like are basically worshiping and saying can like teleport and remote view anything in life and existence and has secret knowledge of Lord Zeno. You're saying that guy has all those abilities, but we also know that like he lied about his military record. We know that he has a history of tax evasion. We know that he lied about certain injuries he got during World War II. We know about all these other things. And you go through the list and they start to panic just like this because they can't take it. It's la 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 la. No. They can't withstand countering opinions.
For the PS2. You don't have to do anything in Grand Theft Auto 5. You don't have to do anything in Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Brandon
Jones.
But
it's different.
You can, because there is this road.
That's the center of the universe.
You know what I mean?
And you get to the center of the universe.
Right.
That is your kind of
Sean
carrot
Murray
on
gets up on stage and demos this game, he doesn't say, I don't care what you do, you can do whatever the heck you want.
What if Mario had no enemies?
Oh
Yes,
my God.
okay. No. Hold
See,
on. Brandon.
they're playing. He's joking. They're also in on it. I don't know what his deal is. I think he's more like passive. He's definitely trolling this guy a little bit. But
Jones, there's a difference between not pushing any buttons in Super Mario and wandering around in Minecraft, right? There's a difference. You might call some person in the world might call both of those things doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
But that's not true, right? In Minecraft, what excites me the most is I'll just start digging holes, man. I don't care.
Absolutely.
The minute I spawn, I'll just start digging holes.
Yeah.
I'm like, here we go. And the only thing that I want, right? This is why I buy so many packs in Hearthstone. I just want to find diamonds. And when I find them, you know what I do? I log out of Minecraft. I'm like, oh, I got my diamonds, and I'm done. That's not how anyone else plays Minecraft. And that's it. Like that's when No Man's Sky crystallized for me. Is he doesn't want to give you a list of classes. He doesn't want to give you stats. And I know some people out there need that. I understand. This is not the game for you. It's just not.
Can you dig? But I like
Cutter, also, thank you for subbing on Twitch. And also to Lena Bean, 96. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Sorry, I missed it. For some reason, my Twitch notifications aren't sounding off.
Minecraft. I dearly love Minecraft. I have had a resurgence of Minecraft like 5 times, where I will put the game down and then it's like, I gotta just get back in there. But to me, Minecraft, when they sold the first time I played Minecraft, I was like, got it. This is a game where I can do whatever the heck I want to.
That's what this is.
But it feels like that is not the way he has been selling it. He has not sold this game. We're just like, it's just a fun game, because Sony's like, go out on stage and he's like, oh crap, maybe I can't say that. Maybe I can't sell the game this way, be really carefree and loose about it. He's like, oh, whatever, you can just do whatever you want. There's no rules. He's like, I gotta sell it as more of a standard experience than that. And so we've gotten the same demo 3 times where you're like, okay, right, you're pulling out there's stars, I got it. And he's just like, I can go to this planet and like shoot stuff. And so, and it just, here's the thing. You say you have infinite possibilities. Like, there's infinite things you can do. There's not.
I don't think there's infinite.
You can fly here, you can land, then you can take off again and go somewhere else and land.
There's not, no, I don't think there's infinite. Like, it's so uncomfortable, dude.
And you can step out.
You can
and
say
shoot
that about
things.
any game.
But
GTA, you get in the
Right?
car,
And
shoot
you have an
someone.
inventory, and objects go in, and then you can take them other places. That's like 8 possibilities. There are variants of how that, right?
Everyone in the audience in the peanut gallery is like, he's not wrong. I mean, he's like, yeah, it's an infinite universe of possibilities. Yeah, you can collect rocks and move them somewhere else. Or you can like kill an animal, take its meat or pelt or whatever, move it somewhere else. Congratulations, you just made like an Excel spreadsheet. Like, that's not even not even a game. What are you talking about?
There are variants of how those possibilities play out. There's like if I shoot things, I don't know if guys are going to show up, but I still just shot something and waited. You know, it's like in Minecraft, I can build a ladder, I can build a torch, I can build that ladder down to a train track. I can get in a train track.
And it's new life.
You build spaceships.
You
and
build new
shit.
spaceships.
Yeah,
Just
I
show
new
me building a
resources.
spaceship.
He's telling you build
Yes.
spaceships.
you
But you're
can
going out on
absolutely
stage
build
for the 4th demo of No Man's Sky, and you're not going to build a spaceship. You're going to
It's
do
an
the pull-out.
experience. He can't show you 30 minutes.
Honestly, I think you're right. And there was an anguish that I saw in Sean Murray.
An anguish on Sean Murray. Again, very emotional language for a guy at E3. It's just weird. It's cult of personality stuff. It's just really freaking uncomfortable. Eric, thank you, man. Playing Avatar with the unobtainium graphics setting on 4090 and 4K. Holy cow, it looks good. And the combat reminds me of Crisis 1. Yeah, and the graphics do too. Gee whiz. Yeah, I mean, the game, Avatar, I think gameplay-wise, it has a handful of limitations and faults and shortcomings. But in terms of technology, the density of foliage, everything, it's ridiculous. It really is. If you have not gone and watched the Digital Foundry videos on Avatar, you should. It is crazy what Ubisoft has been able to do. That alone should make people excited, I think, for the next Assassin's Creed game. Because it's going to be better than this even. And I think this is already crazy what they're able to do. So they've been working hard on those engine improvements, and it seems like they're paying off, thankfully, which is awesome to see. But yeah, I mean, anguish. I could sense anguish on Sean Murray's face. What? This guy needs a hug? Well, I agree. I mean, I think I'll save it for when we're done with the video, but we know what happened with this guy, what happened after all of this. And depending on how you look at it, it might be a happy ending, might be a sad ending. I'm not sure.
I think you're right. And there was an anguish that I saw in Sean Murray that I wish you could have been there to see. I felt the same way as you. And even as he was doing the gameplay demonstration, I was like, this looks a lot like the trailers. When are we going to see new things? But what the sense that I got is that man would rather die than show you what is out there to discover.
And the
Oh my god. Hold on. I need to make sure I didn't mishear that. Hold on.
You're gonna see new things, but what the sense that I got is that man would rather die than show you what is out there to discover.
and the
What? Like what? Oh god. What does that even mean? And like what am I supposed to take away from that? Like Sean Murray would rather die than show what's out there to be discovered so that we can discover it ourselves. What? Yeah, that literally makes no sense. I don't understand. Here's understanding. I don't have that with that. I don't get it. At this point he has a crush on it. Well, it's just this is like, okay, maybe it's not the most directly pertinent, but like I have a friend, which like we don't really talk politics or religion or anything on these channels because it's just not what we're here for. But I have a friend I've known for a very long time, since like high school, and this person is what I would consider to be, I think they, I guess just after high school, but this person is very, I would say, emotionally vulnerable. They don't have a lot going on in their personal life. Not a lot of friends, no spouse or anything, but they've always been susceptible to strong personalities that they kind of attach onto. And this individual found a pastor at a church. And this is what we would call like a charismatic church. So it's like, you know, the big rock bands, they have the big musical performances, smoke machines going, crazy light shows. And, you know, the pastor comes out wearing Gucci stuff. It's one of those churches. And this pastor is a very, very, I mean, his flock is based around the cult of his personality. And this guy talks about the pastor like this guy talks about Sean Murray. It's like, well, Pastor, I forget what his name is, but it's like Pastor John, you know, he's told us so many things and he's taught me so much about his life, and he's such a visionary and he helps me be a better person. And like he's talking about this guy, this pastor, as if he's Jesus, as if he's Muhammad, as if he's like, I don't even know, the Buddha. Like, it's so weird how much he has attached value to this one guy that he's grown emotionally attached to. And this guy, something very similar seems to have happened with him and Sean Murray, where he's attached some crazy amount of self-worth and like justification for his own life and meaning in his life to Sean Murray making this video game. It's really, really weird. It's really weird. Pastor does a kickflip. Yeah, maybe Sean is Jesus. I don't know. Sometimes he's got the beard for it. That's Jeff and Kojima. Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's easy to follow someone when you feel lost. Absolutely, Eric. And this is like the point of all of this, again, as I said at the top, is not to like make fun of anybody. It's not to mock somebody or to call them stupid or anything. The point of all of this is just that something like hype can initially just seem like lol, funny, hype, cringy, you're being silly, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes, not all the time, sometimes it is just people getting excited for something unnecessarily or irrationally. But there's also a good number of times when hype is sort of a symptom of something else going on. And in this case, I think we can all start to see that something else is going on with this individual where the answer will never be found in a video game, okay? And when you start to seek those answers in video games, you will find yourself sorely disappointed. Video games are an amazing asset for many people. They can be a great escape in trying times. And we've all been there where we have something terrible happen and we just want to escape and just play. Just go somewhere else and experience something else. And I think that is a very valid way of using games. And I think that's okay. I don't think they'll solve your problems or anything, but I think just like any other piece of media or entertainment or escapism, they can be valuable in that way. But if you're looking to Sean Murray with his latest release to like give your life meaning, or as he said, it was the first time in 2 years that he felt a genuine human connection. That's what he said at the top of this. If you're using video games and the developers of those video games to get a human connection, something's gone wrong. Okay. Like if you play Call of Duty and then you play in matches and you meet a friend and that's how you get a human connection. Okay. Yeah, no, it's a real human connection. But this is some sort of weird parasocial thing where Sean Murray's just a guy. He's never spoken to this individual as far as I know. He's never referenced that. He's just a guy that this guy's watched videos of and seen on stage. That's it. And yet he's saying that he feels the first genuine human connection he's ever felt with him, or in the last few years he's felt with him. So when you see stuff like this, the reason I bring it up is because if you see this in your friends, if you see this in yourself, it's like, it's okay to go and talk to people about the stuff that's really going on. Doubling down on a video game is just going to get you further down the rabbit hole. Okay. Like, it's okay to be excited for games, but this is a sign, in my opinion, of something else going on that video games will never be able to fix or answer.
I'm not passionate about this game because I'm sensing a game I don't care about. Then I don't care. Then we have an 8-minute just played and we're done and we move on.
Yeah,
You want to
that's the thing.
discover this
Like-
universe?
Like, there's something exciting about going to a planet, and you are the first person in the world to see this creature. Right? Maybe you can't, build a ladder out of it. Okay, Brandon Jones, I can't make a ladder out of this little bug that I found.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But I was the first person
Yes.
to do it. That is a story that I could come in and I could say, you've never seen this planet. You will never see this planet because
dying.
it's so huge.
And you
I
say-
saw it, and I get to describe it to you. That's what exploration
And
is.
who
That's what adventure
the
is.
hell knows what is going to be in the center of the universe? That you
Spoiler alert, nothing fun.
say there's no point. How many of us in this room are even going to make it to the center of the universe?
Right.
Isn't that a problem though? You're saying that that's what justifies all of the boring aimlessness of the game. And you're like, and how many of us will actually get there? Okay, if it's like one of us out of the 4, if it's 25% of players, that should be a problem that only 25% of players get to experience the thing that justifies all of it. Like, you're arguing against yourself.
And what the hell is there?
I'm making
if
it.
you manage
I'm gonna
to
be
get
there.
So you know what?
The credits.
You
It's the
can
end
have
credits.
your-
Yeah, Parallax. I just need some goddamn faith, Arthur.
I'm making
If
it.
you manage
I'm gonna
to
be
get
there.
So you know what?
The credits.
I'm gonna be there. The credits. I'm gonna get there. He's trolling so hard. I love it.
You
the
can
end
have your
credits.
ladders. We're better off
He
without
says,
them.
thank you for playing.
But
You can have your ladders. I'm better off without them. What you're looking at, Dape, is the end stages of hype. This is a panel at E3 2015 talking about No Man's Sky, and it is insane.
the point being,
There's a knock at
Ian
your
just
door.
Said,
Yeah.
You just said you can build a ship, but dude, never like. How do you literally? Is
Yeah,
it like
but-
a currency
but-
thing where
but-
like if you want to upgrade your ship, you need 400
But
things?
that's just, like,
so I get 400 things and
Alright,
then I
I
just buy
can't
it.
tell if you're just trying to make a discussion or if you're really this dead
I
inside.
want to know.
Or if you're this dead inside. This is where, like, I can't tell if the people off camera are joking. I don't know these personalities. It's very clear that he's trolling. I'm starting to get the vibe that he's on board with the hype, but he's not that deep down. He doesn't have the emotional tie. He's just excited for the video game. This guy has, like, an emotional tie to it. And then this guy is just evaluating it as a video game and being like, listen, there are some problems and there's some gaps here. Like, what are we doing? So it's really interesting, but like all of this is just crazy to me because at the end of the day, like these are supposedly gaming journalists that are talking about a video game that hasn't come out yet that's been shown off. And there's very little critical evaluation of the game except from him. And people off camera are joking or seriously, I'm not sure which, saying like, I can't tell if you're looking to have a discussion or if you're just dead inside. It's like, no, it's a video game. These are like, video games are like cars, okay? There's an art form to them as well. Just like I would argue with like making high quality, beautiful, sleek cars. Like there is an art to it, as well as a lot of engineering. There are certain things that work with cars and certain things that don't. Like you remember in Mr. Bean, this is a deep cut. You remember those like, in Mr. Bean, that car that has the 2 wheels on the back and then the 1 wheel in the middle on the front. And like when you turn the wheel really tight, those cars would always roll over. Like that is something we just know that doesn't work with cars. That's why you don't really see those on cars anymore. You just don't, right? They tried it once with that model. It just didn't work. So you don't see it anymore. And with video games, it's similar. There's some stuff that just doesn't really work. And there's some things we know work. And with No Man's Sky, it's like, okay, what's the hook? What's the gameplay loop? There isn't one. Okay, well, that doesn't really work for a video game. How is that supposed to justify hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of gameplay? How does that work? How's that going to work? And then he's like, no, you're just dead inside. Okay. Like, it doesn't get us anywhere, right? And it's kind of this ignorance of the reality of game development, I think, that there are certain things that are valid questions, certain mechanics and gameplay loops that are at the core of every high quality game, which is why they're so common in all of these games. And the games that lack them end up being really bad. The day before sucks because there basically is not a gameplay loop. There's just like a map for you to run around in. You might run into a zombie or a player, and that's it. You can collect some random crap and put it in your inventory and then move it to a storage place, and that's it. Like, that's the whole game. That's the whole thing. There's not really a game loop. It's just like a thing for you to run around in. It's like a demo box, basically. And so we know that that doesn't work because there are core mechanics that just aren't there. And with like even Minecraft, they're bringing up Minecraft as a counterexample to say like, oh, well, No Man's Sky is basically like Minecraft, but in space with all these planets. Cool. But there, as he points out, there are tons of things in Minecraft that you can do in terms of crafting, exploration, building, combining different things that you cannot do in No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky has no comparable gameplay systems like this. At least it didn't at the time that they were recording this, and nothing had been said or shown off. It was all just speculation saying, well, I'm sure there is stuff. And when he's challenged and like, why haven't we seen more from Sean Murray? Why is it the same trailer every time? He says, I got a sense of anguish from Sean Murray, and he wouldn't want to show it off because he would rather die than share those discoveries. What the hell are you talking about? Like, you think he has like the nuclear codes and he's not going to let like these people torture it out of him? No, we're talking about a video game. What do you mean he would rather die than share one other thing you can discover in the game? Like, we're getting silly.
People get frustrated when you ask about details. They're like, but hey, you want details about this game? Don't you want to explore?
I get it.
It's like,
I get it.
Yeah, I want to explore.
I get it.
Brandon, what do you?
But no, you have
diamonds
no,
in
no.
Minecraft.
This is the thing. This is what separates. Right? No, this is the thing that separates the people that are going to be into No Man's Sky versus the people that aren't. Like that's what it comes down to. You have to be okay with not knowing. You have to be able to boot up No Man's Sky, and you have to be comfortable with yourself, the money that you're spending on this game, and the time that you're committing to it. Where you're like, yeah, I don't know what I do. Are you okay with that feeling or not?
You have to be comfortable with not knowing. There's a term for that. It can lead into not just self-deception, but it's also called ignorance, where you ignore things. You are ignorant of the realities of the game, of mechanics and core things going on. We're not saying that you have to reveal every boss fight, every encounter, every biome, every cool thing that happens. We're just looking for it to be explained what happens. Like, I don't think anybody is wrong if they are trying to play, like if you've never played a game like The Witcher 3 and you've never heard of it. You've never heard a word about it, okay? And then I just tell you, you need to play The Witcher 3, and it's vast, there's a big world, and it's awesome. And you're like, okay, but what do you do in the game? Like, what's the game? And it's like, you have to be okay with not knowing to have a good time with it. I wouldn't blame you at all if you're like, okay, I'm going to not buy it and spend money on it until I know what you do. Like, why wouldn't I? It's like the Kojima games. Like, if they reveal this OD trailer, which is a horrible trailer, doesn't tell you anything about the game, and they're like, yeah, and please pre-order it now. They're not doing that right now, but like, if they opened up pre-orders for it, you'd be like, no, because there's no game yet. Like, there's nothing you've shown that explains anything about the game. And then this guy would come in and be like, you have to be okay with not knowing. And that's, you lack imagination. You're dead inside. It's like, no, I want to know basic things about a video game before I spend money on it. It's not that controversial. It's just It's just amazing. But again, like you also hear this same type of behavior from people again that get into cultish situations where, hey, why is it that the great mighty space wizard that we follow, why is it that he says he can fly and that he also is immortal, but he's also like very sick and about to die and he can barely walk? Why is that? Well, you know, you can't challenge the great space wizard's ways. He does what he will do because he is the great space wizard. Well, no, I feel like I should be able to ask those questions because it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're just being a skeptical prick. Shut up and have faith in the space wizard. That's all that's going on here. It's the same exact thing.
Okay with that, but does your gun get better?
Yes.
You're not okay with that.
Just say it's not a game for you.
So you're gonna go into a game with
Your gun
no
gets
idea how to
better.
customize, no idea how
Your
to
gun
prove
gets
yourself,
better.
no
So
idea
he-
how to
he
make it
actually
better.
said your gun gets better.
No, he
You're
actually
never
showed
gonna
that.
faster.
Yeah.
He
Why would
actually
you want your
showed.
ship to
You
get
can
faster?
upgrade
Why would your weapons
everything.
get more
So your
dumb? Why
gun-
would you jump higher? Why
Your
would you
gun,
want to prove yourself at
your
all?
gun is a multi-purpose tool, right? So he showed an example where he was mining some rocks. There's this giant orange rock. He shot it. He did it. He kind of sped it up a little bit. And he says, look, if you invest in this, you can get a better gun that fires more powerful lasers and allows you to mine more. Then he said, so you start in this very small solar system, right? And he said, if you want to think about like the most linear form of progression, it's all about your hyperdrive in your ship.
Right.
Okay, if you want to go to the
He
center of the
hinted at that
galaxy,
today. He said, I can only go this far because
right,
that's
because of my
engine right
hyperdrive. In order to get the hyperdrives that you upgrade are some of the most expensive things in the game. So if you do want to explore, you have to go deep into a planet. You can't just land and hang out there for a while and wave at a few creatures. You have to get in there, you have to mine, you have to explore every part of it to find these really rare and really valuable resources if you want to upgrade your hyperdrive, which you need to do to reach the center of the universe. That's your progression.
There it is. There it is. How do you trade?
So every single
It's like, but again, you're trying to reach the center of the universe. Okay. And what he was saying while they were all talking over him was like, okay, I can upgrade my mining beam so it fires twice as fast. Why do I want that? Okay, it saves me time, so it's unnecessarily slow at the start. Like, okay. Or my gun, it can shoot faster now, so I can kill things a little bit faster. Okay, why? Are there going to be tougher bosses? Are there going to be tougher enemies that require that? Are there certain planets that are so difficult to fight through that I need that better mining beam or gun to get through? Like, there's no answer because nothing had been shared at this point. And as, of course, we know now, there wasn't an answer to that they would have been satisfied with. But it's like valid questions and skeptical interrogation of the facts and reality versus shut up and have faith. That's all this is. It's, yes, there are not answers to your questions. There's nothing there that will satisfy your claims right now because, yes, they've shown the same trailer 3-4 times. That's all anybody would be looking for. It's just the acknowledgement. Yeah, they've done the same trailer a few times. I think they're probably doing that because they want to keep things close to their chest, make it more exciting when the game comes out. But yeah, I think it's very valid to ask these questions, and we just don't have answers right now. That's all he has to say, and the conversation's over, and it's very fair. Everybody's okay. He can still be excited for the game at that point. Everything's cool. But instead, he's pushing him to be like, nope, shut up, stop this heresy, and have some faith. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Disco Cobra, thank you also for the 10. Yeah, I agree. And I also suffer from schizophrenia with a touch of personality disorder. So over the years, I've had difficulties with hype and attachment to things, working on it through with support. Well, and I appreciate that, Super Chat Disco Cobra, and I appreciate you being so open and transparent with all that. That's great. I think yeah, if you have difficulties and if you have struggles, like I said earlier, video games can be a great escape for that. But I don't think allowing somebody to get deeper down a delusional rabbit hole helps them. Like that's my stance on this type of thing. Like, I don't think this level of hype was good for this individual. I think it actually probably hurt him a lot when the game came out and it was not what he had built up in his own mind. For this guy, the game came out and I'm sure he was like, yeah, I had a feeling anyway. And he just moved on with his day. Same like for me with Starfield. I was telling you guys for months and months and really years that this game didn't really make a lot of sense. And the more we found out about it, the more it didn't make sense. So I was making videos on it. Got a lot of hate at the time in the lead up to the game's launch. But now everybody kind of sees what I was trying to say. that, yeah, a lot of these core mechanics and ideas just don't make sense when you look at them objectively. So for me, Starfield came out and I was like, yep, I had a feeling things didn't click together quite right. But for people that were like this emotionally attached to the idea of Starfield, there were many of them. You guys probably saw it in comment sections all over the place on the internet. And for those people, it was like a ground shaking event for Starfield to not live up to the hype. And that's why I try to do this. That's why we try to look at things more skeptically and level-headedly, because getting hyped for something to the point of delusion is self-deception, and self-deception doesn't actually help you. It just might make you more comfortable in the short term, but it doesn't actually help you at all in the long term once reality sets in.
Because they don't want players to get absolutely stranded.
By the way, question 2: How do you trade?
How do you trade?
Yeah.
It's killing me. I just want to know.
Yeah.
Do you like walk up to a person? This whole
No.
display is
Every single planet or system, I can't remember which one, has a station, and there you can go and you can buy fuel, and you can do other things. So all of the resources that you collected, you can barter and you can try to get money for in order to put into your hyperdrives.
Great question from Elise Williams earlier today. Did you ever see a person? What a person looks like?
I never saw a person.
So this we still don't know.
That was me. We said you might play and never see one person.
We may never
But
see a
you
person.
might also see.
You might also.
So what happened? And that's the question: is like,
And that aged badly because, of course, when the game launched, on launch day, 2 players found themselves while streaming on the same planet. Their community saw and told them, and they lined up in exactly the same spot on the planet, looking at the exact same thing, and there was no player there. So the promise of multiplayer was just not true. And then also, if you saw the Internet Historian video, they put stickers over the multiplayer label on the cases because legally they had to say there was no multiplayer because there wasn't. They just didn't communicate that publicly, which, again, what's the term for that? Oh, right, a lie.
Isn't that what
Can't you imagine that moment? You're sitting in your house at 2 a.m, hanging out. You've been playing No
This
Man's
is the
Sky for
greatest
3
game ever
months.
made.
All of a sudden, you see another person. That would be so scary.
it is not
So
exciting for
terrifying.
me as a video game journalist to not get answers about a game. That's
Thank you. Again, this is not supposed to just be a circle jerk over Sean Murray. This is supposed to be a well-reasoned and rationed discussion of a video game that's been announced that we don't know hardly anything about back in 2015. And instead, it's just pure levels of hype and copium to a pretty scary degree.
It is not exciting for
terrifying.
me as a video game journalist to not get answers about a game. That's not exciting.
What answers
Mystery!
don't
What do you
answers
hate about
Mystery! Have some goddamn faith, Arthur. That's all they're saying. Yeah, it's okay that there aren't answers because that's the point. By the way, if you ever hear that from anybody, if you ask a question about anything and they say, no, you're not supposed to know, and that's the point. Red flag. Red flag. Same thing. If you ask why the magical space wizard swears he has magical abilities, but he refuses to show them to anybody, that's a red flag. And if you're like, hey, why don't you use your magic, Mr. Space Wizard? You have magic. You say you have magic. Show us your magic. Lift me up, or turn this water to wine, do this or that. Show us your magic. No, I'm not going to show you because I won't be put to the test, and the mystery is supposedly part of the thing. That's how you get deceived. And if you go along with it and you're like, well, that mystery is part of it, you're just setting yourself up to be lied to. That's all that's happening.
How do you upgrade your ship? How do you? You're like, you went to a planet to mine. He's never mined in 4 demos he's done in this game ever.
He's mined.
Yeah,
He
they
has
did. They
mined.
mined. They
He has
destroyed the
mined.
things.
The way you upgrade your ship is you shoot things with your mining/laser gun.
Right.
And you get resources.
Right.
Those resources, depending on how valuable they are, you can use to upgrade your ship.
Are those the
Now we're talking about a video game.
Are those
Yes.
the elements we
Yes.
see on the bottom of the
Yes.
screen?
He's not
Yes.
allowed to play this game.
Because everything, all the things.
Brandon's not allowed to play this game because, again, they're like, how dare you question the almighty Sean Murray? It's crazy.
I'm not understanding about this game. I understood the second it was announced. I was like, got it. And then he came back out and he's like, you can explore everywhere. I was like, you said that. And then he came out again and he's like, no, really, anywhere. And I was like, again, we're right. Cool, that sounds great. I need that next thing beyond the announcement.
I get where you're coming from, but in a 10-minute demo at a press conference, how do you sell an entire planet? How do you sell that moment of discovering something for the first time? How do you sell?
Feel it. You have to play it.
Like,
By
maybe,
pushing
maybe,
the bench, by pushing
maybe
the
they could've
stools
done it.
aside
Maybe
and
they
getting on
could've
your
done it.
feet and screaming about it. I am not less excited about this game from this, although it might seem that way, Ben. I'm pumped. I want to play this game. I mean, would you argue that this is probably the most curious people are about a game of everything that we saw at E3? They're like, we need these answers.
I need answers.
Which is why you're most excited
Ben
about it,
gave
because
me-
you
Ben
actually
just
got
gave
your
me all the
hands on
answers
it,
I need.
and you actually played it. So all of these things are real to you now.
I
and
didn't
think,
play it. I did not play it.
Well, you saw. I mean, you were right
I saw
there. There's
somebody
no smoke
play
and
it.
mirrors,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was right there.
Yes.
And I think
demo crashed.
A lot of people are desperate for that. You know,
The demo crashed.
actually see.
Uh-oh. That's what we call foreshadowing. Oh, man. It is so fascinating now. You know, in the moment, watching this back in 2015, I'm sure it was like an actual headache simulator. It must have been very, very difficult, just like bashing your head against the wall, trying to tolerate it. But now we know how this story ends, and we know who was right and who was wrong. And it's a really good case study in why it didn't have to be this way. They could have known that this was not making sense. And his whole point with all of this is like, hey, they've had 4 trailers. They keep showing the same stuff at every trailer, and they refuse to show specifics that people are asking for. That's concerning. Why don't they do that? One trailer for exploration, one trailer for hunting and collecting resources, the next trailer for mining, the next trailer you show off this, the next trailer you show off ship customization. Why don't they do that? And then their answer is it because mystery. You're dead inside. You don't appreciate mystery and magic. Shut up.
To put all those things together, to see the systems go, to see somebody spend more than just a stage demo with it.
Before I met Michael Huber, I didn't care about spoilers, right?
Okay.
Because I was a person that lived on the internet, and
Yeah,
I just encountered that stuff, and I became...
Yeah, how dare you question the orthodoxy? Exactly, Parallax.
Because I was a person that lived on the internet, and I just encountered that stuff, and I became numb to it. And then I met Michael Huber, and he taught me the integrity of a story, and how. And when I saw how much it mattered to him, that's how much it mattered to me, and that's exactly what I saw in Sean Murray. That guy is
Remember, I was describing my friend who like attaches on to people with strong personalities. It's like the quintessential example of like a follower. It's not bad to be a follower. You know, there's leaders and followers, but it's not always bad to be a follower. But when you're the type of follower that follows blindly, that I think is a problem. Like when you just buy in so deep. Sean, thank you for the 20. Also, I've had a shit year, but video games, the channel, and my friends. I live in another country, and the support I got was very humbling, and I'll happily talk to anyone with blinkers on, and shit happens. Luke left a paper. Oh, Jesus, dude. I've had my phone set aside, so I have not been looking. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, Pogs in the chat. Pogs in the chat. Pogs in the chat. Sean submitted it privately, so I won't say numbers or anything, but Sean made a very generous contribution. Shout out to Sean. And yeah, Sean, I mean, we have a great Discord community. If people need to talk or are looking for some of that contact, like we have a phenomenal community of very supportive people that can potentially chat with you and would love to help out. But at the end of the day, I mean, the best way to deal with it is to talk to your friends, talk to your family. That's great. That's great. And I think it's the big thing is just to be honest about difficulties you're having with your friends, with your family, and then you can actually deal with it and try to improve your life. And that's how you make progress. Yeah, like in order to climb a mountain, you have to decide that you're going to climb the mountain. If you just pretend like the mountain isn't there and keep walking into a wall, you shouldn't be surprised when you don't go anywhere. And that's my problem with like self-delusion. That's my problem with self-deception, with intentional ignorance of reality. That's my problem with it, is that it doesn't actually lead you anywhere. You're just refusing to acknowledge that mountain to climb is there and that you need to get to the top. And instead you're like, nope, it's a hill. Nope, it's actually a lake. You just trust me. Like it doesn't actually help you with anything. It's just self-deception.
killed him. I've never seen a man look so defeated than he did. He did not want to be up there showing this game to these jaded journalists who just want to know how they can get the highest rank. He didn't want to do it. You could see it. It was so visible, right?
They just want to know what the video game is, what the gameplay hook is, like the game part of it.
He doesn't want to give you those answers, Brandon. I know it's frustrating, but it convinced me.
All right. So we learned more. There's still.
I feel like I know exactly what the game is now. The way Ben.
I don't want to see
described
anymore.
everything.
I'm actually good.
Yeah, I'm ready now.
You're good? Dark? You're
I'm
dark?
ready, yeah.
Media blackout.
I'm actually good. Media blackout. He's such a troll. I love it.
Blackout. I'm ready to dive in and just start living.
For the record, Sean Murray, I like spoilers. I like more information on that stuff. So just keep it coming if you
I'm
guys
sorry
want
if I misrepresented you in any way.
I
I like you a lot.
I think
We know.
if there's any passion that Sean Murray has for this game, you have as much, if not more. No one is questioning that. Thank you, Ben, for your passionate portrayal.
Thank you for
of No
fighting
Man's
me.
Sky.
Thank you for
Thank
fighting
you for putting up with me and answering my questions.
Or not.
Thank you, Sean Murray, for making this crazy game. We'll see more.
I need another water.
It's a good thing we were standing.
Woo! And thank you guys for going to E3 today and checking stuff out.
Rational thought.
I felt like I was potentially being irrational when I just played.
Okay.
Really incensed better.
It's a
That
game
was
of the
good.
unknown,
Wow.
Brandon. That is the point. Is that it's.
You don't just get to give a game a pass for being unknown.
Thank you. I know, right? It's like, this doesn't make sense. Well, it's about the unknown, so that's why. That is not an excuse. Like, nope. That's not how that works.
It's
It's about the exploration.
That is the point of this game.
Exploration.
That's like if I said to you, like, oh, hey, do this thing where the whole point of the thing is this thing. And you're like, no, tell me everything about it so I don't have to do the thing and enjoy the thing.
As
for
a
the
gaming
reason that it's
journalist,
a
like,
thing.
tell me about this game. Like, you're doing it wrong. Like, I'm not a journalist. I'm supposed to.
You don't have to
ask
be a
questions
journalist to
about
get
the
all the
game.
information. You can just discuss the feel, the tone, your
Vibes,
their
look, the
hopes.
vibes.
So there's a
The game is
prescribed
about
way
discovery.
to ask questions about this one particular video game.
Just this one. This is
This
No
one-
Man's Sky.
it's
So it is
art
possible
game.
to have an incorrect
You're like
opinion about
you're
this
like
video
trying
game.
to have someone define the color blue by like it's
This
like
telling
You can do that because the color blue is like based on a specific light wave. You can define the color blue. You can define emotions and feelings as chemical processes. Like, well, the moment that you start to fall into this, like, again, it's not about questioning. It's intolerant of questions. Like, you can't doubt the great Sean Murray because I saw the anguish on his face and his human connection with me was intense.
hue and
Telling me how
qualities.
to upgrade my ship is not defining the color blue.
I think honestly it's important to classify it as a different kind of game.
It's a pointless
It's
art
important to do
game.
that.
It's
Yeah.
the same as Proteus. It's the same as Mirror Moon EP. It's about fucking doing whatever. That's all it is.
there is no point.
What if whatever is upgrading myself? That's
For
my
you,
whatever.
that's what it is.
You're the
You
one
can do
telling me
that.
I'm doing it
You
wrong.
go mine that. I'm not telling you
Well,
anything.
that's for
We're
everyone.
just telling you over and over again. You can go and mine. You can go and upgrade your ship. You can go and do what.
Oh, so this isn't even the same guy. So it's also like there's other members of the team that had bought into the hype levels and were okay with just not having answers for anything. If this is not kind of very revealing, I don't know what would be. Like, journalism is supposed to be objective. It's supposed to be fairly evaluating things based on reason and evidence, that type of thing, to come to well-rationed and justified conclusions. And in the gaming space, because of the nature of it, like, there is a strong bias within everybody, and it takes a lot of very intentional self-reflection to shed those biases, or at least be very clear about them. But in the case of like this, it seems like there was a culture in the gaming space, at least in 2015, where you could not openly question No Man's Sky. Like, it was seemingly intolerable, which is why they all started to hate on this guy the moment he starts to ask questions.
Whatever. Like
You can do
there's
whatever,
no
that's the
reason to
point,
do
yeah.
anything
It's like
unless you
it's like
want to do it. Why do anything unless you want to? I don't play GTA because that game is irritating to me.
It's like an MMO, Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah.
Some people lived
Right.
years in that game to sing in a cantina. That's
Right.
it. That's all they did. They just sat in the cantina and they sang, and that was enough. It is
Yeah.
it is what you make it.
Yeah.
It is
If you
your
just want to collect
responsibility.
things and sell them on another.
If we're just shedding all responsibility for quality game design because it's what you make it, it's like, yo, this same thing could be said for like Starfield or the day before. Yeah, no, the day before it's empty and there's nothing to do because in the zombie apocalypse, yeah, it would be probably pretty boring because civilization has fallen and collapsed, but that's part of it. And yeah, there's not much loot, but that's because in a zombie apocalypse, there wouldn't be much loot left. It would have already been looted. So that's part of it. It's all by design. Just because something is according to design or was intentional doesn't mean that it's good for a video game or as an art piece. Doesn't mean that it's going to be fun to engage with. It doesn't mean I'm obligated to enjoy it or anybody is. And like with this, if you're saying, oh, well, it's an open-ended thing and that's by design and that's part of it. And in these other games, people just found their own fun and that's part of it is that players find their own fun and build their own experiences. Okay, cool, whatever. Who cares? What are we doing? Yeah, Luke tried not to mention Starfield Challenge, level impossible.
Thinking of classic Star Wars galaxies. And you're like, okay, I want to be a rogue. How do I do that? I don't know. You want to be a rogue? Like, yeah, but what are the systems? Like, what abilities do I get at level 10? Like, you're a rogue, man.
I would love
Like,
that.
no. I want the specifics. Like,
that.
Yeah, exactly. There was no discussion of any specifics at all. And now we know it's because there weren't those mechanics. There weren't specifics to give. But these types that just are willing to buy in hook, line, and sinker for sake of hype and preserving their excitement are willing to lie to themselves, deceive themselves under the guise of it's part of the mystery and that's part of the point. They ended up being horribly disappointed when the game eventually launched.
What Galaxies is about.
Wait. Someone in
the
chat.
search for information
Someone in
in No
chat.
Man's Sky is futile
Hang
and
on.
annoying to other people.
Hang on. Someone in chat just summed up all of this.
Okay.
In 3 words.
What's the person's name?
I don't know. It's going by too fast.
Okay.
They're freaking out.
All right.
But they said, it's everyone's sky.
It's everyone's sky.
No Man's Sky.
All
Yeah.
That does not sum it all up. That's one of the stupidest comments I've ever heard in my life.
Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no one's. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
But you can't because people ask them, like, what do you do? And they won't tell you. So it's not, again, like if we're just playing the make crap up game, okay, you win. Congratulations. If we're just saying stupid stuff, you get first prize. Yay. We all just made stuff up. Hooray. But if we actually want to justify what we're saying, you need to back it up with specifics. And if we're not going to do that, it's not journalism. It's something else. It's just fanboyism, which is what a lot of gaming journalism is at the end of the day, unfortunately. Some companies have gotten better with it, but you know, it just depends. It just depends. But all of this to say, we know what happened to this guy after the fact, okay? So this guy's name was Ben Moore. Let me copy this over. Ben Moore, post or paste. Ben Moore Gaming. Let me pull him up here. So Ben Moore, this guy, Ben Moore, he was an American journalist. Based on what we saw, I think that might be a little bit of a stretch. But writer and video personality. He produced gaming content related to the New York Post for over a year, and in 2013 went on to become a member of the Game Trailers until its closure in 2016. So Game Trailers, that's the group that he was with in that video. On June 21st, 2022, Ben announced that he was leaving Easy Allies, which is where he went after, I'm assuming. On July 1st, due to his wife getting a new job back in his home state of Iowa, he cited that he and his wife were wanting to advance to the next stage of their lives and how they wanted to spend more quality time with loved ones. So he appeared in 2016 on a weekly Dungeons and Dragons series called Tabletop Escapades. The show is a spiritual successor to the Game Trailers series Tabletop Adventures. He did a handful of other things, but basically in June of 2022, he just decided that he was leaving because his wife got a different job. So for one, seems like he got married. So good for him. That's great. And then he left the gaming industry, left the games industry entirely, to go and spend more time with family, with his wife and everything in Iowa. So he's shifted into a different career. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what the fallout was after this. I don't know. It's not like this clip went viral or anything. You know, even now, all these years later, it's only at 90,000 views. So it's not like that clip was a huge thing. But it's just kind of crazy that that's what's happened. Interestingly enough, also, the guy that was the only critical thinker, seemingly, on the panel, Brandon Jones, is an American voice actor, performer, editor, and video personality. He co-founded Game Trailers with Jeff Grotz in 2002 and remained there until its closure in 2016. Married to Amanda Troop, and they are proud parents of their son Milo and owners of Sophie, the dog. Jones announced on March 21st of 2022 during EZX 2022 that he was retiring from Easy Allies and games journalism on May 1st. So he also retired and is no longer in the industry. It's crazy, but like we are kind of at a point where this generation is shifting over and moving forward. So I hope for Mr. Ben Moore, that he landed on his feet and that hopefully he has found purpose and meaning outside of the one and only Sean Murray. And it seems like he has. So I wish him the absolute best. And I know it's easy for us to like meme on it and joke on it, but I don't think, like, people don't choose what they're convinced of. And if you don't believe me right now, and you think that you do choose to be convinced of things, just choose to be convinced that I'm saying of what I'm saying, which is that you can't choose to be convinced. See what I did there? So you can't choose what you're convinced of. Either you're convinced of it or you're not. But you can choose how you think about things, how you interrogate reality, how you figure out what's real and what's not. It's called your epistemology, like how you decide what's true. You get to select that and kind of design your thought process and how you work. And that's something I've done over the last like 5-6 years of reevaluating basically everything I believe and hold to be true, trying to reevaluate it and figure out, wait, do I actually have justification for this? Do I actually have reason to believe what I'm saying? Is there evidence, sufficient to meet the standard of evidence required by the claim and all of these other things? And so once you set up that system of interrogating reality to determine what's true, you can avoid being conned and lied to much more easily. I just think in the case of these types that fall victim to cults of personality, to heavily marketed things that promise a different life, an escapist life, they have not laid that groundwork to have an epistemology or a way of evaluating these things robustly. And as a result, they can be conned and tricked very, very easily, which is what happened to everybody on that panel that was so willing to just drop the requirement for evidence of any claim and just accept that, well, they're not going to show us evidence of any of this because that's part of it. It's part of the mystery of the game is that there's not answers. It just doesn't make any sense at all. I choose to believe that I choose not to believe. Exactly. See? You did it. So with all of this, it's just a matter of trying to avoid being conned and tricked. And that's why I think if you ever find yourself saying, just trust me, bro, or don't worry about it, it's about the mystery. It's part of it. That to me is concerning. That should be a red flag for everybody. Because that can get you to a point where you are in a position where you could get lied to and tricked, which happened to a lot of people with Cyberpunk 2077, with No Man's Sky, with, believe it or not, The Day Before. Also, with The Day Before, a lot of people knew that game was going to be horrible. A lot of other people still thought it was going to be great. Like, a lot of people thought that it was going to be great and were shocked when it ended up being kind of sucky. And it's amazing. It's amazing. But that's because, like, with The Day Before, we're all asking questions. I mean, like, hey, this doesn't really make sense. And you're saying it's an MMO, but you won't let anybody try it or test it. There's no server tests. You're showing us random stuff like gun customization, but you haven't shown us any robust actual gameplay of this. You haven't shown us what missions look like. You haven't shown us any of that stuff. So there's a lot of questions, and you refuse to answer any of it. For most people, that would mean, okay, maybe there's something weird going on here, and we shouldn't get super hyped. For other people, though, there's just not that second step. It's just, this looks very interesting. And they never ask the follow-up questions. And maybe it's like a matter of gullibility. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I don't know. But at the very least, I think it's why I have made it a focus of my channels to like encourage healthy skepticism, to try and push people to not just buy into marketing hook, line, and sinker. And we've seen the examples of it. You know, we watch those Colt Eastwood videos of him hyping up Redfall and saying Redfall could stand to be one of the best games Xbox has ever released. And then it comes out, and just like we expected, because there were a lot of red flags, the game is horrible. It is a broken mess. But because when people just buy into marketing taglines without questioning it, they end up in trouble. Like, there's no surprise there. But again, it's easy for us to say this looking back because hindsight's 2020, but it's also easy to see this stuff coming from a mile away if you're just looking at it with the right lenses on of not buying stuff just because you want it to be true. I love how they copied COD trailers and others frame for frame. Dude, for real, like down to the frame. It was crazy. Oh man, it's just so crazy. Yeah. But now they're gone. Now it's gone. Disco Cobra, thank you for the 10. I think I've gotten overhyped for certain games when the hype train went into overdrive. I got caught, excuse me. I got caught, lol, pre-ordered 3 copies for friends, family, but you know the rest. It's a great game now, but yeah. Yeah, and that type of thing happens. And to be clear, we've all been burned. Like, I got burned a lot with Fallout 4 back in the day. I, like, bought and built a gaming PC. It was my very first gaming PC. I had, like, at the time, let's see, when did Fallout 4 launch? Was it in no, it was in the fall. I think it was like within a couple months after I graduated high school, and I didn't have hardly any money, but I went and I asked my mom if she could like order the parts for my PC through Amazon, and then I would pay her back with my job as a janitor. And so we ordered all the parts. I put the PC together, I built it up, and then I remember launch night for Fallout 4. I booted it up, and it was so poorly optimized. It was like hitching. It was broken. It wasn't working right. And so I kind of ended the video pretty quickly of me like doing a let's play of it. And I was just like, okay, we'll be back with another episode, guys. And I remember turning off the recording and then just leaning back in my chair and sitting for like 5 minutes, just in silence, nothing. The game's on its menu. And I just asked myself, like, this isn't making me feel the way I thought it would make me feel. I thought it would be like a whole new life. And now that I actually have my hands on it, it's just not coming together. Like, it's not what I had built up in my mind. And now, you know, after the dust has settled, I think Fallout 4 is a pretty good game. You have to play it more like an adventure shooter, but if you play the game that way, I think you can have fun with it for sure. It's not a great RPG, but you know, it's I think a pretty solid game. Especially like gun customization is really cool. There's a lot of good stuff there. But at the time, expecting it to be a really robust RPG to evoke the same feelings as like Skyrim, I was very disappointed and very, very burnt on it. And a lot of people have also, like, Cyberpunk 2077, I think for everybody was a bit of a shock. It was a shock to me in just how bad it was, but when I saw it at E3 2019, I thought it was a very lackluster showing. The segment of gameplay they showed us behind closed doors was really, really underwhelming, and they intentionally did not share that segment with the public, which I thought was very, very weird. They eventually cut up a segment of one of the boss fights. It was like the boss fight against Sasquatch. So they cut that up and showed that off. And it looked much better in their edited trailer. But actually watching somebody play the game for like half an hour or however long it was pretty underwhelming. And so I had a feeling like Cyberpunk maybe was not going to be quite as good as we were all hoping it would be. But then when it came out and it was an actual disaster, I think we all were very surprised. I don't think anybody expected that. And they didn't expect it because there weren't really many red flags. And the reason there weren't very many red flags was because they just straight up lied. And that's the problem. It's like you can, I think you can forgive people for being hyped based off of false information. If Rockstar is like promising all this crazy stuff for GTA 6 and then the game comes out and it's actually only like 30 minutes long and it actually is like 8-bit and nothing in the trailers is actually in the game, then I don't think people are wrong for being hyped. I think they were justified in being hyped based off of the evidence they were provided. It just turned out that the evidence was all based on lies, right? You can't really bank on that unless there's a history of lying from that group. And that's the thing with like the case of No Man's Sky and Hello Games. Like their track record is that they improved something that came out and was greatly over marketed and overhyped. And now they're doing another game that seems to have the potential to also be overhyped and over marketed. And I'm worried that it's just going to be No Man's Sky 2.0, which in 10 years, once it's been fixed and updated, is probably going to be great. But in the meantime, it's going to be pretty sucky for people that get hyped like that. Cyberpunk update 2.1 added a lot of bugs and no big YouTubers are talking about it. I didn't experience any. I heard some people saying that they had like, what was it? I think somebody said like their car wasn't warping in correctly, but then they rebooted the game and it worked okay. But I didn't run into any, I haven't run into any sort of bugs or anything with it. Oh yeah, Man Without Bear, the day before studio shutting down. Yeah. I think they're just shutting down. They're trying to back out of all of their obligations with Steam so they don't have to pay for refunds. I think that's what they're doing. That's my estimation based off of what's going on. Because they didn't have any dev costs. I don't know what they mean with like it didn't generate profits and they have to owe money to their partners. I don't know what the hell that means. So I think that they're just trying to run off and get out of having to pay for those refunds. They're like, hey, if we shut down the studio and we can't we have no bank accounts associated with anything anymore because all the bank accounts are shut down, you can't actually take money out of that and draw from it. There's probably going to be lawsuits involved on the back end. You're probably going to see like Steam sue Mytona or something. Like I would guess that something like that happens. Arvin playing RDR2 now. It's funny you mentioned that. I just started a fresh run through of Red Dead 2 last night. Ooh baby. My last run through of Red Dead 2 was like the most evil run through I could possibly do. And it was tough to like do it where like every time you have the chance to do something good, you do the worst thing you possibly can. It was kind of fun. It was very different from how I normally play those games. But this time I'm going to go through and I'm going to try to play it like my ideal form of Arthur, like a very sweet guy that is being corrupted and manipulated by Dutch. That's what I'm going to try to do this run. Because the evil run through, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to get through. Yeah. I can never do evil. Yeah, Nikki tried to do evil in Baldur's Gate 3, and she had to back out of it and restart because she couldn't bring herself to like kill the tieflings and stuff, which was just funny. Yeah. It was just funny. Let's see. I also bookmarked this. I want to show this, and we have a bunch of other stuff I was going to get into, like PS5 Pro leaks and stuff. I'm waiting for it to be verified, though. But I want to show you this because this I think does a really good job of showcasing something. Okay, Jacob, new segment. A lot of people have been like, "Oh, I can't believe Spider-Man didn't win Game of the Year. I think it definitely should have been Spider-Man." And Baldur's Gate 3 is just not very good in comparison. It's just top down, really slow, turn-based combat. It sucks. And like you can try to explain it to people exactly how good it is and how varied it is and robust it is in terms of what you can do and player agency. But that doesn't really mean a whole lot. But there was a video that went up by Momo O'Brien, and it's like a 40 minute video where she breaks down how she fell in love with Baldur's Gate 3. And it's a very, very good video. Just look up Momo O'Brien and Google or on YouTube and go subscribe to her. She doesn't put out a lot of videos. It's like once every few months, but very, very good videos. Highly, highly recommend. I found her through this Twitter post, though, of this clip that was going around. And it's a clip from her video. As she says, this is from my YouTube video about Baldur's Gate 3, by the way. Sorry if it sounds weird. I had to speed it up to fit in all of the stories onto Twitter, which perhaps adds to my point. And it's just a quick little 2-minute thing, but it explains in one little quest why Baldur's Gate 3 is so good. And I think it does a very good job of it. So let me just play it for you. And again, go subscribe to Momo, follow her on Twitter. This is probably... you know, somebody sent it to me. It was like, I think this is the best explanation of why it's good. And I think that that's true. I think this is probably the best explanation in 2 minutes of why Baldur's Gate 3 is Game of the Year.
For context, one of the first missions you're given is to go rescue this man Halsin in the middle of a goblin camp. During my all-nighter, I gathered all the goblins by playing a little ditty, and then carefully planned out an ambush so I could attack them all at once. A lot of other people also planned out an ambush by putting grease on the stairs, ice on the bridge, using a spell that locks all the doors. Someone fully sold out the good guy location so they could assassinate the leader once they were left alone. Someone was attempting to ambush everyone, but then got caught freeing a prisoner and had to fight their way out. Someone woke up the drunk goblins and then gave them more booze so they'd pass out again. And this person poisoned the punch bowl at the party. Some people threw their enemies into the spider pit. Other people befriended the spiders and caused a spider uprising, including Luxy Games, who— wait, Luxy Games?
I cannot believe the spiders are working for us.
Some people tried to charm all the goblins. Other people placed a bunch of oil barrels and then blew everything up. Some of these answers mentioned, oh, I brought Saza along. And I was like, wait, who the hell is Saza? And then I remembered Saza is this random goblin that you meet at the good guy camp for like 2 minutes. This person was playing with their partner who got arrested and then turned into a cat to go rescue them. I also got arrested. But then I was like, wait, I got thrown in the dungeon. The place we're supposed to be rescuing Halsin from. In the playthrough you are going to see, I met a character named Priestess Gut. She gave me a sleeping potion, I pass out, I wake up in a dungeon in chains. However, when Brizzy Voices was in the exact same scenario— Brizzy Voices— when she was in the exact same scenario, she was given the sleeping potion, but was playing a drow. And apparently, sleeping potions do not work on drow, so Priestess Gut got mad and attacked her. But
Like, so much variability, so many levels of just little bitty detail. You have the poison in your inventory. You think you have to apply it to a weapon, or you can just like put it in the punch bowl and then they drink it and then they get poisoned. Or like, you know, she mentioned if you want to betray the tieflings and let them all go, you know, tell the goblins where they are and let all the goblins go to the tieflings to clear them out. They'll kill all of the tieflings, but they'll leave the leader of the goblin camp behind and you can go assassinate them really quickly. Like, there are so many little bitty things that have been accounted for that you probably didn't even think of. Like, so many. It's hard to like even fathom. And it's why, like, seriously, when people joke, and like I said this in my review when the game came out, like, I don't know how they made this game. I don't know how it exists, because there are so many thousands of little bitty things that can all come in. Like, the one I saw recently was that there was a, was it a spell or a scroll or a weapon or something? There was something that had multipliers on its damage based on the amount of gold in the inventory of the target. So what this person did is they went into stealth with one of their characters and squad mates, and then went in, pickpocketed the big boss that they were fighting with like 300 HP or something, dumped in all of the gold that they had been saving up for the whole playthrough into their pockets, and then hit them with this attack that multiplied based on like every 100 gold they had in their inventory, and so one-shotted them. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And yes, Crisco, all the super chats are working, everything. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through this. I'll read it in just a second. Don't worry. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, there's so many little bitty details in here that it's just unbelievable this game even exists. Like, Spider-Man 2 makes sense. It's Insomniac. They did a really good Insomniac game. It's kind of exactly what you would expect it to be, and it's very good. But Baldur's Gate 3 is just ridiculous. No part of it existing makes any sense. It's wild.
someone else said they did.
Yeah, it's pay to win. I guess that one technically was. That was, yeah. You shove a bunch of gold in their pockets, and then yeah, I guess so.
Do not work on Drow, so Priestess Gut got mad and attacked her. But then someone else said they defeated Priestess Gut by dropping a chandelier on her. And someone apparently seduced her and killed her in her bedroom. Some people sided with the goblins by accident. A lot of people sided with the goblins on purpose, which means there's an alternate timeline out there where the goblins are just hanging out in the good guy zone. And in my current playthrough, I got through the goblin camp by smearing shit on my face.
I can't believe you did it! You stupid idiot! Go on, mate. Enjoy the festivities. You earned it.
And all of the goblins in the camp acknowledged that I had poo on my face.
You look like you've been kissing a wolf's backside.
Look on you. Looking good, you dunger. Who suits you? And what you
Who suits you?
Stink on your face. That tongue on your mug's making my eyes water.
I would open up my menu, and there would be poo on my face, and flies buzzing around my head. I had a status effect for the poo on my face. And I would like to remind you that that is just one mission. That is one quest in the entire area of Act 1.
Yeah. And she didn't even go into some of the other strategies that people have come up with for that one encounter. Okay. Like, and that's Act 1, which is decently large. Like, if you do everything in Act 1, it's, I don't know, like maybe 25, 35, 40 hours. I know some people were like, I've spent 60 hours in the game and I'm still in Act 1. I honestly don't know how you spend 60, 70 hours in Act 1 alone. But I guess some people have been able to do it. But with this, I mean, the level of variability and player agency, which, to be clear, in case, you know, I'm just throwing stuff out, player agency just means giving players the ability to effectuate change in the world and with characters and gameplay. You know, a game that's on rails, so maybe like a Last of Us Part 2, during very specific sequences where you have to do exactly what they're instructing you to do and go to exactly this place and do exactly this thing, that lacks player agency. Okay, that is you experiencing a story and you're on these tight rails to go and do exactly what you're supposed to. Baldur's Gate 3 is the opposite. Baldur's Gate 3 tells a fantastic story, but it tells it while retaining player agency, not robbing you of it. And that's what makes it so freaking special, is that it can tell remarkable stories that are memorable and great and impactful, while also giving players the ability to do it themselves in whatever way they want, and they've accounted for it, both narratively and in terms of gameplay. And in some ways, they also just straight up embrace you breaking the game. Like they are okay if you go and find a way, like I mentioned earlier, to one-shot that boss. A lot of other developers would be like, no, we don't want you to one-shot the boss. That kind of defeats the purpose of the boss fight. Why would we let you do that? But Baldur's Gate 3, just like D&D in a lot of ways, they will let you break the game because that's part of it. Like, yeah, if you were resourceful enough to break the game, good on ya. Good on ya. Love it. Good job. Hope you can find another way to break it, you know? Like, that's what it does so well. And with, yeah, it would be like in The Last of Us Part 2, if they not only let you kill Abby, if they also let you, like, get in a romance with Abby, and then also if you wanted to go and with Abby create, like, an effigy of Joel and of Abby's dad, and then those two effigies become, like, into a sub game where it turns into like It Takes Two, and it's effigies of Joel and whatever his name was running around completing puzzles. Like, it would be the opposite in a lot of ways of The Last of Us Part 2. And to be clear, I think both games and both styles of game have their place. They both are trying to do different things. But that's why it makes it all the more amazing and impressive that Baldur's Gate 3 is a thing. Because it has a very robust combat system. It has an incredibly robust narrative itself. And then it also has tons of voice acting. Every decision has been accounted for, as far as I can tell. And frankly, and I'm not joking, I have not come up with something in Baldur's Gate 3 where I've wondered, I wonder if this works. And then it doesn't. Every time I've ever thought, I wonder if I could do that, it works. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it changes how you play games because so many players are used to following the rules and staying within the lane that the developers have set. But in Baldur's Gate 3, they're just like, yeah, no, break it, whatever. Yeah, figure out how to break it. And that is so wildly impressive. Granted, Baldur's Gate 3 took about 6 years to make. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. But it is that good because it's a game with amazing direction, a fantastically talented team, and a freaking massive budget as well. I mean, that's the that's another part of it. I'll tell you what. That's a big part of it. Big part of it. Oh, anyway. Let's see. Is the console version any good? Everything I've heard is very good. Yeah. Thorn in his side. Good to see you. Everything I've seen there is good. Oh, this was just funny. This was just funny. I'll just show you this. Know the TGA rules. OD. Aw, you're sweet. Yeah, very appropriate. And then director of Alan Wake 2. Thank you for the... Please wrap it up. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And I guess, you know what? I have it pulled up. We'll do this. Sorry, Jacob. One last segment. I'm loading you up on stream clips. Let me pull up super chats before we do this. And also Twitch. CJ Miller, thank you for subbing over on Twitch. Appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. And Pop, thank you for the 2. There's a beta and release date for Skull and Bones. Yes. February 16th, I believe. And then the early access is, I think, 3 days before that. So the beta, I'm not sure exactly when the beta goes up. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But yeah, apparently there's something there. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping we can get a hold of the game ahead of time and try it. So we'll see. But that would be cool if we could play it on stream. I think that'd be super fun. I think that'd be super, super fun. Let's see. Disco Cobra, also thank you for the 5. What are your overall thoughts on the Avatar game? I've seen mixed reviews on it. I still haven't gotten it, I still got it, but I haven't opened it just in case. Honestly, if you're a fan of the Avatar universe, I think you'll have a really good time with it. It's not like an amazing game. It's not going to win any awards, but I think it's a good time. And, you know, it's another example of one of those 7 out of 10 games. Like, it's just it's good. You can have fun with it. It's got things that you'll be like, I don't really like that. But a lot of games have that. You know, I think in this year, it's been just so stacked. We've kind of forgotten what it's like to have games that are like pretty good or okay. Yeah, they're fine. Like there's a lot of movies that are fine that I still enjoy watching. There's plenty of movies like that. Doesn't mean that you should never touch it or never watch it or never mess with it. Like, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. Like most Will Ferrell movies are like, okay, they're fine, but they're still fun and they're still worth watching. You know, it's like not every game has to be Schindler's List or like, you know, The Last of Us Part 2 or Red Dead 2. Some games can just be okay, and that's fine. So, I think it's a good time, and frankly, what they've been able to do with Avatar in terms of the density of the forest and then also the ray traced audio is crazy. Like if you have a nice pair of headphones and you want to see crazy audio, Avatar has it. The stuff that they're doing in that game technologically is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So just outrageous. And then Crisco, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. I just subbed over on Twitch. Ooh, yes, thank you, Crisco. I'm currently sitting in my car. I have to wait 2 hours before I can see a doctor. Will you be going to PAX East in March? I haven't actually looked into it. Where is PAX East this year? Is it always in the same place? PAX East. It's in Boston. I've never been to Boston. I think that'd be super fun. It's March 28th or 21st through 24th. That could be cool. Yeah, maybe I'll apply. Maybe I'll apply. I think that'd be super fun. I don't think I have anything lined up for March. So last year, like this past year, was tricky because I was like, we didn't know E3 was canceled, and so I said like, okay, guys, we're gonna go to E3 and we're gonna have a great time. We'll do meetups and we'll all go get beers together or something. And then we found out that it was canceled, so it didn't really matter. But also, like, you know, around October of 2022, of course, we found out that we were pregnant with Orion and that he was due in the middle of June, like right at E3. So I was like, okay, well, you know, it was canceled, so it didn't really matter, but what are you going to do? Luke, you seem like a Boston guy. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'll take it. I've heard good things about Boston. And then Demetrius, thank you for 1 month of support. Oh, baby. Hey, Luke, have you checked Spaceborne 2? It's in early access. One man dev, he put Starfield to shame. Yeah, I don't know if we did a straight up stream clip of it, but we've watched it on stream. It's very impressive what he's been able to do. Just one guy. That's also another one of those cases where you're like, how does this exist? Like, how is this a thing? This is wild. This is wild. Have you seen the Funhouse video making fun of Boston? I don't think I have. No, I don't think so. There's so much to do. Well, and they have like, you guys have over in Boston, you got like the nice seafood too. I love me some seafood. Here in Colorado, we don't have any good seafood. Everything that comes in here is basically frozen. So to have some nice like lobster rolls. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I would do that. That's the other thing I loved about going to New Orleans. I didn't like that everything smelled like pee and puke, but I did like how the food was crazy good. Like no matter where you go. We went to one butcher shop that made fresh muffaletta, and oh my God, I would crime for that sandwich again. The Blade game situation is weird. I think Mr. Matt has a video on it. Yeah, the whole thing is very, very strange. I was like thinking of doing a little reaction to Maddie's Blade thing. I didn't end up doing it just because I don't want to step on the performance of his video at all. Oh, hi. They can see you. How are you?
I just wanted a cuddle.
I was just about to wrap up and get some lunch, so that times out well. But yeah. I'm thinking about applying to go to PAX East, Nikki. So
where?
PAX East. It's like a big convention. So if you want to investigate price of travel for going to Boston in March, that could be fun.
Okay.
Oh, they have a tabletop gaming section too?
Are there dates?
Yeah, it's March 21st to 24th.
Okay, we also have a nephew being born around then.
Yeah, nephew. It's not ours. She needs to level her stealth. Yeah, a little bit, babe. I'm sorry. That's pretty funny.
More of a hand-to-hand combat style bard. I'm less of a stealthy person.
Yeah. Oh, and to bring your own computer station. Oh, that's kind of fun. That's cool. I've never been, so I don't know what it's like, but can someone spell the name of the food he just said was crazy good? Yeah, it's, I don't know how to spell it, so I'll let Google fills it in. Muffaletta. Or they call it muffaletta sometimes, but it's it originated among Italian immigrants in New Orleans in Louisiana, and it is ridiculously
What
good.
are the Italians doing in New Orleans?
What
are they doing?
Emerald has a recipe for it. But yeah, it's like a big bread loaf. It has like an olive Creole salad on top. So it's like, it's got the olives that are delicious and marinated. And then it has salami, capicola, mortadella, or deli ham.
You're really just offending everyone.
Fresh mozzarella, provolone,
Wow.
olive oil, salt, pepper, pickled pepperoncini for garnish. It is to die for.
Aren't pepperoncinis already considered pickled?
No, I don't think so.
Isn't it? Are you just saying pickled pepper? By saying pickled pepper?
No, because I think pepperoncinis are something like, it's a different brine, and then pickled would be a different thing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh man. Now I'm really hungry for muffaletta. What am I gonna do?
I was gonna make butternut squash soup.
I love butternut squash soup, but that's gonna take till dinner. I'm talking about lunch now. I'm hungry.
I can make charcuterie sandwiches, whereas somebody I know
Oh,
says
yeah.
charcuterie.
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 Yeah, we do have a friend that doesn't know how to pronounce charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
Yeah, Nikki makes these really good sandwiches or like lunches, which is like a nice piece of toast, sourdough toast, and then goat cheese,
Yeah, baby.
and then like 2 eggs, like with the yolk still in there,
Or
nice
yeah,
and
like a
gooey.
medium
Yeah, like a medium egg, and then bacon over top, and then some
salad greens.
salad greens.
Salad greens.
Ooh baby, ooh
Oh,
baby.
the charcuterie sandwich.
Yeah.
Don't eat it like a
Charcuterie sandwich. Nom, 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 nom. Do you like sushi? Oh, I love sushi. Love it. I love it. But I'll let you know, Crisco. We'll investigate this. I'll send in the application for media and creators. I don't know what that means. If that means that they just allow us to attend, or if that means that they try to put us on panels or something. I don't know. But I'll fill up that application, and then maybe Wednesday or Friday I'll have an answer as to whether we do it or not. Because I think it'll be fun, and one of my commitments for this coming year is that I want to be able to travel a lot and do those
traveled a lot
events.
this last year. We're good at traveling.
Yeah.
Is my shirt on backwards?
Is it on backwards?
I don't know.
Wait, hold on.
I can't. There's no tag. It totally is. I keep doing this.
It totally
I
is.
keep doing this.
Her shirt's on backwards. That's pretty funny.
I keep putting Lachlan's shoes on backwards too. I think it's just me.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm having issues.
Yeah, she keeps. There was like a period for like a week and a half where every time I saw Lachlan, his shoes were on the wrong feet. Like every single time. It's like, babe.
Oops.
So I should have just taken a Sharpie and written on the bottom, left, right. I have a friend. I'm not going to say their name. Nikki knows them too. But I do know somebody that is a fully grown adult, like probably 23, 24 years old, and still has to like mouth and hum the Pledge of Allegiance to figure out which hand is their right hand. Like to this day. That's the only way. Or because it's I pledge allegiance to the flag, because in schools, some schools do that. The other thing that they do is they might hold it up like this, because when you hold your hands up, your left hand makes an L, so that.
But it doesn't help because when you're thinking about that, they both look like L's.
Well, it's the one that's correctly aligned.
I know, but if
You're not going to go like this. Which hand is my left hand?
well, you are. No, because if you do this, and sometimes you have a reading disability, Luke, like some of us
No,
have.
dyslexia like rearranges the order and shuffles them in your mind, is my understanding. It doesn't just straight up make your
It can flip them. It can flip them.
to the point where like you can't tell that this one is correctly aligned.
I'm gonna be
and
honest.
these
For,
look the
like
same.
up until high school, they look this way to me. I'm like, I don't know. They both look like L's.
That's concerning. We got to take Lockie to some doctors. And
You want to make sure he's not special like his mom. Is that what you're saying?
well, don't worry. I'll make sure he puts his shirts on
You want
the
to
right
make sure
way.
he's your kind of special and not my kind of special.
Yeah. The kind that spends like lots of time building Lego and talking about video games randomly.
I kind of like having a kid that is only wearing backward clothing.
Well, that's good. They're with you. She's right, Luke. Sometimes I have to check what direction the line in the L goes. Oh, really? That's funny. Who knows?
You.
Who knew? I thought it was just to rearrange like the order and stuff.
I am our own cool breed of
I'm
weird.
dyslexic. I had trouble with D and B. Interesting. Oh, fascinating. What really like bugs me is that for like that's been the case with people forever, like for millennia, but up until very recently, it was always just assumed, like, if you don't know how to write or if you struggle with that, like, they just be like, oh, well, he's the office or the town or village fool. He's going to go be a grave digger instead. Or, like, my dad, when he was going to, like, Catholic school when he was really, really little, same thing. Like, if you were left-handed, which I think my dad is left-handed, they would just, like, straight up beat your hands until you used only your right. But my dad can, like, write with both hands. Because he's left-handed. Yeah, he's left-handed, but he learned and had to learn and was forced to write with his right hand. So he can write with both, and it's fine. But it's only because like they've tried to beat it out of him, basically. Yeah, left-handed witch. Yeah, basically. Your wife's a cutie. I agree.
Thanks.
Flipping letters is called dysgraphia. Oh, interesting. Can you give me advice to make it out the hood? Maybe what should I invest in? Not official financial advice, of course. First priority for everyone, in my opinion, not financial advice, is get rid of any debt, high interest debt. Because if you have any debt at all, if you have a 10% or a 25% interest rate on like a credit card debt, you like have to make that much money in the stock market, which you're not going to, in order to offset it. So if you still have debt, you're losing money every single day. So get rid of all debt, consumer debt like that you have. Pay it off, whether you have to eat nothing but like rice and noodles for a year. That's the first priority. And then after that, you can, start to tackle the other stuff like investing and saving. But you really do have to like just get rid of that consumer debt. That's what kills people. It's like, I know Nikki and I have like friends from college that will have tons of student loan debt. They have like maxed out Victoria's Secret credit cards and stuff, or Kohl's cards. And so they have all of this debt that is at like 20, 25%. And then they go and they're like, yeah, but I bought 3 shares of Starbucks.
That levels it out.
And it doesn't work that way. It's like, okay, your share of Starbucks went up 1.2% this year, but all of those credit cards, they cost you 25% of the balance. So you're just hemorrhaging money. Like, it's fun to invest and people feel like, oh, well, if you want to be rich, you have to invest. No, you invest after you get rid of stupid debt.
Yeah. I'll be your hype man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to do the Pledge of Allegiance thing often? I'm from the UK. Not really.
Luke was homeschooled. He has no idea.
Well, I was homeschooled until high school. But like at high school, in my school, some teachers did it. I think I had 1 or 2 teachers that would do it.
High school, we never did it. Elementary, middle school, every damn day.
Yeah.
Every day.
In high school, I think it was just a teacher's choice. I don't know what it's like nowadays. In college, we never did it.
I'm like amazed you actually know it, to be honest with you, because that was heavily elementary and middle school.
Oh, my dad was a Marine. Of course I know the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, Jack, it's crazy. They're just running away. Yeah, they shut it down. In the U.S., you can have how many credits cards you want. Well, whatever you're approved of. Like, that's the thing. You have to get approved. And a lot of people will get approved for, like, what I would consider to be predatory credit cards, which are most of the ones that they're going to push on you. Like, if you have Venmo in the States, you're probably getting texted, like, you've been invited to apply for a Venmo credit card.
Airline credit card.
Anything they have to push you to get is probably not worth it. We use American Express for pretty much everything, and it's because they have really nice benefits and perks, and the channel points all just like blend together and are able to work together really, really well. But anything else, like the United Discover or United, the Chase United card is a good one, I think. But yeah, it's really easy for it to become predatory. Leonardo da Vinci was left-handed, so instead of writing from the left, he wrote from the right, inverted. Yeah, he did. It is crazy. Because it only makes sense, like, as you write, that you pull your arm with you instead of pushing your arm as you write. And so he would just write inverted. So if you want to read Leonardo da Vinci's notes, like handwritten notes, you have to hold it up to a mirror, and then it flips it, and you can read it.
I think he just wanted to feel special.
That's
like when I changed my A's when I write them to like the typewriter A.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to feel special.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so unique.
Papa, no. I was selected for a Venmo credit card. That means I'm special. Nikki, go to Goaty. What's your Goaty?
I really like Baldur's Gate 3. I think it rightfully won.
Yeah, I think so too.
I stand for Baldur's Gate 3.
Wouldn't it be so funny if Nikki was like a hardcore Sony pony? Oh. Wouldn't that be so funny if she was like, no, Spider-Man won it. Suck it, Luke. That would be so funny.
Not my game of the year.
Yeah, not my game of the year. I didn't vote for it.
No, No, Baldur's Gate 3 is fantastic.
Taz Kai 96. That's it. You convinced me. I will YOLO my savings on Ethereum and crypto. Okay, Boogie. Okay, Boogie 2988. By the way, I'm going to be watching this while I work on videos later. Caleb Hammer just posted this, and it's a financial audit with Boogie, and it's 2 hours long, and apparently he's just like, he's like, this is the worst he's seen in a while. He's like, this guy is so broke, it's not even funny, and he has such terrible spending habits, it's just ridiculous.
Oh no.
So, yeah. Yeah, the day before devs just scumbag. They're just being scumbags. They hype the game so much when it comes out. It's not good. Running off people's money, not giving refunds is so much stuff. Yeah. I mean, the red flags were there from the beginning. Nikki, where's your stream channel at?
I have all this stuff set up. And
Just have to do it.
Definitely like gone for 2 minutes and then got scared because I'm like, I'm just talking to myself and I have nothing cool to say.
It is very weird. Like the idea of streaming until you have like enough people in chat to fill it up, it's very weird. Like there's just no good way of doing it. It's just awkward and you're just kind of talking to yourself. There's no way to do it.
Well, I'm really self-deprecating, so if somebody like comes in, I'm just gonna be like, Nikki, you're so stupid. Why you do this? Or you'll just see me like save scumming Baldur's Gate 3. Being like, no, I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to push them for funsies, guys, just for funsies.
That's weird. Oh man. I kind of don't feel bad for people about the day before. You could see the turd mile out. Yeah, well, it's specifically the people that have bought it and are trying to play it for like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. Like I forget which streamer it was, but there was a streamer that played it for like 10 hours trying to give it a fully fair shake on launch day, and just ended up like trying to refund it, but it got rejected because they're like, no, you played it over 2 hours, which I think is fine. Like 2 hours is plenty of time to get an idea if a game sucks, and yeah. Practice Luke's chat, maybe. Yeah, I mean, what I have done for a long time is like, you just try to get into the vibe. It's a different headspace of reading chat and then just letting that be a jumping off point. But it is weird and strangely exhausting. It's weird.
I'm excited about it. I want to do it. I'm just not a confident little pony here. I'm a scared little pony. I don't know why I'm a pony.
It's all about being a pony. Yeah, it's just, it takes practice. But the only way you get practice is by doing the damn thing. So you just got to do it. Got to do it, babe.
Do you mean to leave you alone? I can leave you alone.
No, I was going to wrap up. I'm very hungry. I'm very hungry. This is the first time I've actually ever caught a stream of yours. Been supporting since Witcher 3. Did something incredible and live for the content. Also, y'all are precious. Oh, thank you, my friend. You're precious. No, you're precious.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Were you able to get a refund? Yeah, I did get a refund. I did get a refund the day before.
Oh.
Do you think it will be more or less like No Man's Sky improve over the years? I think for that one, whatever it's called, No Fire or whatever, I think that one probably launches and is pretty boring, and then it'll probably get better over time. But I'm worried people are going to get overhyped for it. Thank you, Nacho. I try. I'm single with no kids. I live in Detroit. I'm just trying to be like this guy, be well off and can enjoy life at a reasonable age. Oh, I appreciate that Risky. Yeah, it's just, it's a grind. We only very recently got to the point where I would say we were financially stable and comfortable. I mean, for a long time I was working a full-time job on the side, and it's very new for us to be in a good spot. So who knows, maybe in a year you'll see me on.
Risky. So we're definitely trying to play it safe. I hope I don't handle the financial stuff. I have no idea if we're playing it safe.
Yeah, no,
I'm scared.
we're very cautious with everything. We're not going and buying a bunch of crypto. I'll tell you what, we're not doing that. So very cautious and trying to avoid any big oopsies or anything. It's not like we're putting all of our chips on black.
Trying to live outside of our means.
Yeah, it's like I've said before. Like, if I wanted a Tesla, I could go buy a Tesla right now. Like, is that the best way to spend $1,000 a month? No. Like, I'd rather spend $1,000 a month saving that money or investing it or paying down like my student loans or our invest in Warhammer instead, or like our mortgage now, which is still weird to say that we have a mortgage. So like I'd rather spend that money elsewhere because I don't need a Tesla. Like that was the thing when I had that Honda Accord, is like I drove it maybe once a week, maybe twice, and it's like I love that car, but how can I justify spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on
we use
that car?
one car.
Yeah.
So one car household.
Yeah, but it is a Tesla though. Yeah. Living on my own is new, but being on top of everything keeps me at ease. Oh, I'm sure, Sean. Yeah, it's got to be. I'm sure it's very weird, but also it's probably a little freeing because it's all yours. Like you get to control your space very precisely, exactly how you want
look
it.
at the wall with a little nail, and you're like, "This is my wall."
Yeah, I can
put this nail wherever
I'm gonna paint this wall blue because I can.
Ugly.
Yeah.
I'll make it my wall.
Yeah.
Paint the ceiling black.
Shantorius, good to see you. Buy a Cybertruck instead. Yeah, I've had a pre-order for a Cybertruck since like 2019. I don't know which variant I chose, so I don't think I'd even be able to get it until the end of next year or 2025, because I don't think I picked I definitely didn't pick the most expensive like $100,000 one. But the thing with the Cybertrucks is that apparently like the ranges are all like 30-40% lower than they said they were going to be. And the prices are all like 20-30% higher than they expected them to be. Because initially, I think they were saying the Cybertruck was going to be like 48,000 starting, and instead it's like starting at 68,000 or something like that. So if I ever get a Cybertruck, it's going to be after a lot of people have driven it and seen if it's good.
I mean, I don't love the idea of investing in a car market though, where they're like adding subscriptions to things you can use in your car. That feels kind of ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not investing. I would be spending that money expecting that if we ever need to get rid of the car, we're losing a lot of it, because cars are not investments.
No, that's true. That's true.
Subscription to a car is trash. Do not recommend. Yeah, apparently it's for the I think it's $200 for a month of self-driving. So what people have done, like one of my old bosses, he had a Model S Plaid, like cranked to the max, like the most expensive Tesla you can get besides the Roadster, and he would just drive it manually, and there's no issue. But then whenever he went on a big road trip, or like he was driving up to one of his houses for vacation, he would just pay the $200 for the subscription for the month and then let it drive itself up to like his vacation home. And so you can pay for it outright. I think it's like $8,000 or $12,000 for permanent self-driving, or you just pay $200 when you go on a road trip and let it drive itself. So I think he handled it the best way. But yeah, as of right now, there's just no reason for us to get another car, so I don't need a car. But this is the thing, like when I spoke to a handful of other creators and stuff at that Avatar event, and a lot of them are like getting a taste of money for the first time and are just going and buying fancy cars and going and spending all the money. Like they live in a nice little 2-bedroom apartment or something with the extra bedroom as their studio. But then they're going and spending $80,000 on a car or $130,000 on a car. They're not paying cash. They're getting loans on it. And it's just stupid. Like, it's just dumb. Thankfully, we're making money now and not like 4 or 5 years ago when I would have been more irresponsible with it. So,
before babies.
Yeah, with kids, it changes it. With kids, you're kind of like, okay, no, it's not just about me now. I got to figure it out.
Yeah, you gotta support my coffee addiction.
Yeah, she does have a coffee addiction. She actually will call me at 2:30 when we finish the stream and be like, I have a raging headache. I need coffee. I'm like, oh, you didn't get coffee this morning? She's like, I did. I need another one.
That only happens once in a while. It's happened maybe more than I'd like to admit to.
It happens a lot.
No. But I'm also wondering, now do you want to
Now, do you want to maybe get a little bit of coffee? Need a little caffeine? Mm-hmm. She's an addict.
I just said I was.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's fine.
It's bad.
I got off the nitro.
Yeah, the nitro's dangerous.
I got off the nitro.
Back when I was working in real estate and I was getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night and then had an hour and a half commute there and back. Like back then, I would have like 3 or 4 shots of espresso when I woke up heading out the door, and then I'd get to Denver and after the morning meeting at like 10 a.m., I would get another coffee with like 3-4 shots. I was in trouble. Like I was taking a lot of caffeine just to function. And then I might have to get another like Red Bull or something for the drive home. Because otherwise I could feel myself like drifting off while driving, and you don't want that.
I just realized I was drinking a lot of caffeine, but taking care of babies and not eating. And so I get to like 2 p.m. and I just be shaking. Like, I'm so sick. I don't feel good.
Oh,
I should have more coffee.
Ali says the Nespressos are great.
Ooh.
I've seen those in the mall. Like they have those stores where they sell them, but I don't think I've ever had one. Like I've had the Keurig cups and whatever, but I've never tried the Nespresso.
You know what I really miss? My study abroad in London. You know what's funny? It's just like Starbucks. It's just a chain, but it was like Nero coffee. It was so good. I dropped Starbucks that whole trip. I only drank Nero, but it really is just Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's a big old chain.
You'd be like Fry in Futurama and enter the speed for it. Yeah, for real. Nespresso's fire. Oh, that's 2 now. Maybe when we're in Arizona, we go to that mall, we go to the Nespresso place. I bet at the Nespresso place in the mall, they probably have samples for you to try. They have to, right?
No, samples are for poor people.
Like, surely they do.
Like
Hey,
us.
buy our coffee maker that we have an entire store in the mall for, but you can't try it before you buy it. Surely they have samples. I bet they do. Yeah, don't get the Panera poison. Yeah, apparently they have an energizing lemonade that has killed like 3 people.
What?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
I just love the Starbucks lawsuit that's saying we didn't know it was caffeinated and that the Starbucks refresher isn't real juice. It's not real fruit.
No.
That lawsuit cracks me up.
Sean Torres, oof, how did you survive? I feel that I had to drive to work for a year and a half, and my commute was an hour to an hour and a half. Yeah, dude, exact same. Almost falling asleep behind the wheel was not fun. Yeah, it's for me, it was watching, or I guess listening to true crime videos with YouTube Premium. So like, it was a channel called That Chapter. That Chapter. So pretty much every morning, I would pull up a That Chapter video, and you know, they're like 25 minutes, whatever. So I would be able to listen to these like a podcast with YouTube Premium and get through like 2 or 3 of them every morning. And then on the drive back home, I might listen to like a finance podcast or something else, like whatever I was feeling that day. But set up that routine because this engaged me mentally, so I was staying awake just for that. You know, that was able to keep my attention. So stuff like that, and then lots of coffee. But it was so bad for me, and it's
No, it hurts.
yeah, it's something you have to be very, very careful of.
You start getting like tummy troubles from it. That's a bad time. It's a bad time.
Well, when you're working a job you don't like, then that's an excuse to go to the bathroom.
That's why you take up smoking.
It's part of the cycle.
Started smoking cigarettes just to get out of the office.
Yeah, that's a whole Family Guy bit. Yeah. I'm a researcher with chemistry involved in Nespresso. There are a lot of bad things in it. Really would stay clear of it. Oh, interesting. Is that what makes it taste so good, though? Is that what makes drinking tea made is very energizing? Yeah, I've wanted to get more into tea instead of like the really high calorie coffees.
Black coffee isn't high calorie.
Oh no, dimwit monkey, dimwit monkey. Dimwit monkey. I got it. All I heard was samples are for poor people. Bruh, whoever said that is terrible.
No, it's like from the perspective of someone giving them out. If
It
it's like
it would
the
be
mall
funny,
in
yeah.
Phoenix is like no, it's Chandler. The mall in Chandler, Arizona is all luxury stores, and if you don't look like you're wearing luxury items, they don't talk to you. And so I don't think they would offer samples.
Yeah.
We were walking around in like sweats and like we just went to a mall because why not, and left
Yeah.
very sad. Very sad.
Yeah, guys, we did talk about it. I think it's all BS. I don't think that they are actually paying debts or anything. I think that they're just trying to cut out before they have to refund people. Dandy Blend. Ooh. When you start talking to yourself to stay awake, you know you're not in a safe space to drive. Oh, dude, what I used to do is like I would listen to like some of these call-in shows that might be political or like about religion or something, and like the call-in person would ask a question to like the hosts, and then I would pause the podcast or whatever on my phone, and then I would talk to myself in the car while on the drive doing the commute, pretending like I was answering the caller's question because it was like engaging like that. It's funny. She's standing up right now. Yeah. She's standing up. Yeah, we should go get lunch, and I guess you need coffee, so we'll get you coffee.
Well, the babies are sleeping, so we got a minute.
Oh, that's nice. Anyway, much love, everybody. This has been a joyous stream, as always. I appreciate you all. Wonderful. Oh yeah, you're gonna stealth.
The elevator down.
Stealth. She's gonna roll a nat 20.
I'm not ducking out. I know it looks dumb.
I mean, you're still definitely on camera.
Was it cute?
It's funny. I mean, we just saw like your middle back.
Pissed off.
I'm sorry. Okay. Much love, everybody. This has been wonderful. Sorry for the power outage. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.